let's do a cheers to the Sobeys and Safer Liquid Beer for the podcast.
We ride again.
I love you guys.
Careful, that cake's hot.
It's the 6 o'clock a check-in. Come on, let's go. It's the AM Nasty Big Hello.
It's my static AM radio.
It's the Cool Bed Red Hot Nielson Show. Let's go. Everybody tune in, even my wife.
Mommy likes too.
And those Macromella intros are cutting like a knife. Hey, it's Mitch texting in, he's your dealer for life. Let's crack at 6 o'clock and log in with some sirloin bites.
.03 on a Monday morning, the very Monday morning of the Oilers season beginning on Wednesday. It's the week. It's the week of the regular season. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
Thank God.
Oh, God.
Thank God.
Hey, I guess I'll say this. Sports are back.
Well,
And as everybody would say, probably.
a couple players waved, one in particular, I think, making everyone's...
Correct decisions have been made. And we'll see what ends up happening. We're going to break all that down as we work our way through the show this morning. If you're watching over on YouTube today, you know what to do. Hammer the thumbs up as we work our way through the show. What's that saying? We are back. We are so back. That's from the Hangover, I do believe. Dustin and Lieutenant Eric with a YouTube travel along for the ride today as well. If you're watching on YouTube, sub to the channel. Hammer the thumbs up for us. That would be great. If you're listening on TuneIn, or you're listening on iHeartRadio, or you are listening on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, know that you can get a hold of us in the Paris Jewelers inbox. Family owned and operated, 22 stores in 4 provinces. Flexible options, including do not pay for 1 year at Paris Jewelers. How good is that? Shop in store or online at ParisJewelers.com. The Nielson Show is presented to you by South Fort Chevrolet. What a day we had on Friday. That was so much fun.
Thanks to Daniel and Claire and the team out there. That's a great dealership, hey?
It is
vibes are
chill. It's
cozy,
chill out there,
cozy,
man.
shall we say? Most of them are so vast and huge, and you're like on the intercom trying to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
This was like buzzing.
100%
nice.
cozy.
Yeah.
Busy.
Yep.
But there's people buying and selling. It was terrific. But really, really nice to get Claire had done a good job explaining the vibe to me.
Yeah.
But once you get out there and you actually feel it, man.
Need the taste.
South Fort Chevrolet is a good place to do business.
And you got it taste.
Oh man. So when I wrapped up Oil Stream, Daniel has a 2024 Corvette. And he was willing to let me take it for a rip.
After you almost got stuck in it.
Yeah,
trying to fight the way.
Man, I don't know if I could roll a Corvette all the time. Let's just say that. Anyway, when we were done, I was like, hey, can I take your car for a spin? And he said, yeah. And he didn't even ride shotgun to make sure I didn't. He trusted me that much. Now, there wasn't much gas in the tank, so I couldn't have got away.
Smart man.
But I basically forced Tommy Gazzola to come with me. And I swear to God, Tommy was freaking out. I wasn't even going that fast because I was like, man, we got to find a stretch of highway out here. and we were on a road that had like an 80-kilometer speed limit for a long time. And I was like, man, I'm gonna get to 100 here so I can kind of let loose a little bit. Yeah. And then finally we found part of the highway, and I hopped on there and opened it up a little bit, as they say in the car driving business. I had to take my hat off because it totally would have blown away. It was a convertible, and I looked over at Cazzola a few times, and Tommy's just like, and I was like, drives pretty well. And Tommy's like, yep. Like he was just very nervous. But man, is that fun? Oh, driving a Corvette is a real nice time. So thank you to Daniel and his team out there for having us out and being our partners. It was so much fun.
The food too, those brats.
Oh, you had two of them. I saw you played at two of them.
One. I had a brat and
Who
then a
had
pretzel.
Two? Maybe Gager had two.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys were all over those.
Delicious.
I didn't have one.
You didn't have a brat?
No. I was very excited because I went to the No Frills out there to get. I bought a bunch of like
your stuff in the truck,
bars and stuff to stuff the truck there for the Fort Sask Boys and Girls Club. They were collecting snacks. That truck was pretty full by the time I left, I thought. Yeah. Anyway, while I was out there at the No Frills in Fort Sask, I found a flavor of Pop-Tart that I hadn't found in a long time. So I was very excited already.
That's where they keep them.
That's where my mind was focused on the food. Was the
Nielson family will start getting groceries out in Fort Saskatchewan. I think.
I got
drive.
I told Tammy, I said, "You'll never believe what I found at Fort Sask." But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun out there. Check them out, www.southfortchev.com. If you're looking to get a vehicle, they'll beat any price you find anywhere else. They got so many trucks. It's a terrific truck place. I saw some people looking at some pretty heavy duty trucks when I was out there too. It was real nice. We got lots to discuss on the show today as we work our way through this bad boy. You can comment over on the nasty chat. Hammer the thumbs up. Rip City Step. God, I love this message so much. Good, guys. We can finally get Rishaug's take on the Karl Anthony Towns trade.
What do you think about Cat? Ask him that. Just ask him that. What do you think about Cat?
You know what? I like cats.
The drug.
Used to have a cat. Look, you have no idea how funny I find that. That's just no chance.
But send in your Rishaug questions, I guess, on that theme, right? Other things you'd like to hear Rishaug discuss at length.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we'll talk about the Noah Philp, but I mean...
Where does Rishaug come out on the battle between Tank, Bigsby, and Travis Etienne?
There we go.
That's what I want to know.
Where's Dawson Knox, Shoggy?
We'll get into that. Let's lay out the show for you today. We got a jam-packed show today. So there's lots to get to over there. Let's start pounding that inbox today this morning. Sickler's in. Morning, boys. Checking in from Lethbridge this morning. Just more fake meetings for my fake job, according to Dusty. Have a great week. Let's go oil.
His fantasy trip continues.
Listen, that's exactly what a guy who's on a fake trip would say, right? He would text in immediately and be like, oh, more fake
Gotta
things.
keep up the charade.
Please. Come on. We're going to get to your morning announcements coming up. We're going to get to, that's good, right off the top of the show today. We're going to dive into 5 big takeaways from NFL action yesterday. The good, bad, and ugly from the weekend. Darren Dreger returns. We will have Darren Dreger on Mondays. We will have Craig Button on Tuesdays. We will have Noodles on Thursdays. Every second Thursday, we will have Lou Gazdick. This week, Lou Gazdick will join the Reed Wilkins Show. On Fridays, we have Chris Johnston, who debuted last week. He was great. And I have secured mystery every second Thursday hockey analyst guest for us.
Was it the one we were talking about?
I can't know that neither confirm or deny who we were talking about, but there was a few names off the air that we were discussing. Okay. And I reached out to a few of them, and one of them got back to me.
I really hope it's that one.
And we know what we're gonna do. I don't want to tell anybody this, but I'm not gonna say who it is until he pops on the screen on Thursday. Wow. A real surprise. Wow. Yeah, anyway, that's going to be exciting. But we can't tell you. But one of our new hockey analysts will debut on Thursday. Dregs today. Monday Night Football. Eric's got the wheel prepped. Anytime touchdown score. What is the wheel? The wheel is just.
The wheel is. Oh.
Come on, Trev, give me the wheel is just.
The wheel is just.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
This is a good one too. To cap off the week here, Saints Chiefs. I don't mind this.
There's
at
lots
all.
of options on there.
Don't mind this at all.
Sprinkle me a Travis Kelce touchdown. EST Flyaway to LA, presented by 780. If you haven't checked them out, the word 7, the number 80.com. My buddy Eddie the Gambler, who was in town this weekend, he went out and he picked up like 5 or 6 different things at the airport mall location out there.
Why not?
He's texting me pictures of it. He goes, you won't believe some of this stuff. He was in heaven.
It's full of knickknacks.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
that's a
just
great place.
random stuff.
Local
It's great.
knickknacks.
Local knickknacks.
Terrific. Mike Tanier is going to be by just after 7:30. 7:45 today. The Fan Zone.
Fan Zone.
For fans first, get your tickets to the home opener at the best price you're going to find. By fans, for fans, fansfirst.ca. Kind of easy trivia. 3 questions too many. That hurts. Ryan Rishaug returns at 8:30 today, and then the wrap. So like I said, we have an absolutely jam-packed show today. And you know what else I didn't even say on here, but you know what else we're going to do today? We're going to have some fun. Have some fun today.
We top of the list.
Can we have some fun today? It's always just sort of expected, that we're going to have some fun. I don't necessarily need to tease the fun, but I'll tease the fun for sure. So lots to get to. Okay, where do we? Let's dive into your morning announcements. Let's get into your morning announcements right now for 100.3 The Bear, Edmonton's best rock. Yukon and McCord every single morning, and the wonderful Jess Jackson on what they call in the biz and FM, the drive home. Oilers' final roster is set for now. We'll see where it goes. 12 forwards, the 12 forwards you expected. 7 defensemen. Not the 7 defensemen you originally expected, but the 7 defensemen we think it should have been. Travis Dermott will be your 7. Does not have a contract just yet. They started working, I think, on one like last Friday or Saturday, if not sooner. So we'll see what ends up happening with Travis Dermott. But he could stick around and just skate for a while, and when they want to put him in the game, they can get a deal done at that point, I guess.
Stay in town, eh?
Yeah. Philp down to the American League for now. Won't be long, I think, before he's around.
Let the man play, right?
Raphael Lavoie on waivers. Some people be freaking out about that. Let's see how it plays out. Josh Brown on waivers. I think he'll probably clear and head down to the American League. So we'll get into this with Rishaug and Dreger today. Jeremy Swayman held out for that extra $250,000. That's you know what? In a funny twist, Seabass last week was saying 64 million reasons to get it done, which is 800,000 or 8 million a year. It comes in for 8.25 million a year. That 250,000 coincidentally is also the number on the big IOU for a Lamborghini. In Dumb and Dumber, the very movie that Seabass was in. Remember, he's like, 250,000.
You're kidding me.
That's a good one.
This is all set up.
This is
all
it.
Play. Yeah.
This is it. Like, I wonder if Swain was like, that's not enough. And then Seabass was like, how about this? An IOU for 250,000. You're going to want to hang on to that
Do you
one?
think the deal was done in a Samsonite briefcase?
Damn, I hope so. I hope we don't hear about it, but behind the scenes, everybody dealing with the Bruins are like, Cam Neely thinks he's Seabass. Like he still lives that life.
The hat's hanging in his office.
Yeah. Like when he's off, he's got the vest on and everything. Like I could partially see, and I'm here for it. Those are the stories that the National Hockey League needs.
Yes.
That would be good.
No need to shy away from it.
I watched episodes 5 and 6.
No spoilers.
I'm not going to watch the first 4. I don't care for the rest of it. I just was the Oilers and Panthers. I don't want to spoil it, but the Oilers end up losing the Stanley Cup in Game 7. It was like, wow. But it was a nice little trip down memory lane. I know some of you are like, I cannot bear myself to watch it because it hurts so much. I get that.
Frothy at the mouth though for the season.
I thought overall, I thought the documentary was pretty well done. I think what they could have done is they could have done like just a generic narrator's voice and mixed in more content from the players as opposed to going to like Biz Nasty, Subban, Jackie Redmond. Like I don't know. It kind of took me out of it a bit when they would cut to those people. But all in all, I mean, the access was terrific. It was good. Episodes 5 and 6 were
Never
really
before
good.
seen access pretty much to that league. Hey?
Yeah,
and how we kind of want to see things. You mentioned the Seabass stuff, but the camera's going to places.
The only thing that matters is like they already have hockey. The hockey fans are locked in. Hockey fans are going to make a great number. If the NHL was doing this to try to draw in new fans, I'm very curious what those fans think. Like, first of all, would non-hockey fans have watched this? I'm not sure yet. But if they did, would what they saw draw them into watching the opener against Winnipeg on Wednesday. I'm not sure we'll ever have those answers, but it's. I thought it was really well done. I liked episodes 5 and 6. I also watched that McMahon documentary. I smashed through it. I watched all 6 episodes.
No spoilers.
It was a nice like history of wrestling, as opposed to just McMahon being a bloody greaseball. And well, there was a lot of that too.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that too, but I kind of knew it. But I really enjoyed the history of like WCW, and I didn't get into wrestling until like right before the Attitude Era, so I missed out on the great Monday Night Wars and stuff. It was a lot of fun watching that too. Real nice. What are you? How many episodes are you in?
I think I'm through 4.
Okay,
so it's a 6 part.
And
right?
Trev, you watched 1 or 2 episodes so far too.
2 episodes.
All right,
Yep.
so but you're in, eh? You're gonna watch it.
Oh yeah,
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Last night I dove into the Menendez brothers thing. Have you watched all of that one, the Menendez brothers thing?
We're stuck in the middle.
Okay, I'm on episode 2 right now.
Music's awesome.
Those guys are creepers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never knew the full story. Wait till they try their big prison break.
Wait, really? Is that a thing? Oh boy, I can't wait. They don't really seem like the brightest of brothers.
They're not that. No.
Yeah, I don't ever see Marshall Lemuz killing me. Wouldn't that be something? What a twist.
Well, it's all about the money, right?
That would be something else.
You keep succeeding here, and you never know what the.
All right, the Elks. Man, I almost wish hockey wasn't returning this week, because we have a lot to talk about with the. With
finally the pin is out, right? I think you can kind of. I mean, again, they were fighting. You kind of admire it, but let's be honest. You get to a playoffs, and I know this year any team can kind of beat any team, but.
Well, what you know was kind of interesting is that. Amari Henderson basically ended their season when he punched out that ball from Curly Gittins. Because I think they would have drove the field and probably won the football
and a decent
game
game
in that
for
spot.
Gittins as well.
Gittins, tons of targets. That was his 10th catch.
That's the season as a whole.
Yeah.
Some good numbers at times, but then opportunistic moments go fleeting.
But you know what was crazy? If they could have beat the Riders, this week the Riders play the Lions. So one of those two teams was not pulling any further ahead of Edmonton. And Edmonton plays Calgary. Hamilton's
done.
If Edmonton could have beat the Riders, I think they're going to beat Calgary next week. It would have come down to the final week of the season. But whatever, they don't win. And I don't know where this organization's headed. That's what's interesting for me. I'm not too sure where this is going, because I'm hearing that they're trying to start long-term contract negotiations with Trey Ford. But why in the world would Trey Ford consider long-term contract here with an organization that hasn't even really given him a fair shot this year? That makes no sense. Then I'm also hearing that there's some people in the organization who are pushing for MBT to just be the guy next year, which I don't understand for the life of me. And he's 3-10. What are we doing here? And then I don't know what's going on with Jarius and G-Roy. Like, if you're Larry Thompson, you just purchased this organization. Your entire fan base is down on these guys right now. Although I thought it was a decent crowd at the game.
Sure.
I mean, the party decks and stuff.
Rivalry game.
It looked like a real good time. Lots of Riders fans there. We'll get to the tailgate in a second. I just think you have to take this opportunity as a first-year owner to clean house. I think that's the way to get some people back next year from a fan base perspective. I will be fascinated to see if they roll into next season with Jarius, G-Roy, and MBT. I mean, that'll be the ultimate, like, I don't think you could ever show more faith in 3 guys than coming back, like in any situation, than coming back with G-Roy, Jarius, and MBT.
The PowerPoint explanation on that one, like to kind of win people, like, this is the plan.
When MBT plays, we lose. Like, that's what you're going to point to? Like, I don't know.
But we've said this is a good time and a good reason to start fresh. The fan base would be behind you, but I think you take it in steps. Find your president. The president will then find the people underneath them, and away you go. I don't think you start at the bottom and work your way backwards, saying, well, this quarterback or that quarterback has to be here or can't be here, and then we got to put the people in place above them. Hire the president. Bring in the president. Let the prez make decisions. Go forth.
Timber Woodsman says, how about them Riders? Really? Fireworks after each point? Well, they had the fireworks celebration at the end, and we were
a nice touch.
Well, yeah, but it's still, when you do fireworks, you usually turn the lights off. Now, with that being said, remember at the baseball game, they turned the lights off. Yeah. I guess so many people down the field, maybe it's like a safety thing. Yeah. But as we were sitting there, we were recording our post-game hit for TSN.ca. and we're talking about the game and the Elks season, and fireworks are going off in the background. And I was just like, of course, fireworks night is on the night you're being eliminated officially from playoff contention.
That's a tough one.
That's that is a tough one. So I don't know. I mean, we're gonna have to see where this goes. If you were Larry Thompson, if you just bought this organization, not that he sunk a ton of money into it, from his perspective, it'd be a lot of money for us eventually. But what would you do? I don't sit here and I don't have a list of like 9 coaches and 9 general manager candidates. But I don't know how you can bring back these guys.
Well, it's a labor of love from him. Local guy. I mean, this isn't just a business transaction where they're going to go in and look at the numbers and say, oh, yeah, this guy played this and so many wins there. So he'll do what he thinks is best, I'm sure. But again, I just think you put step by step, put the right people in those positions. They'll then hire the people they think. And it should all kind of cascade and work out from there. But if you're going to, again, say we need this person here or that person there, and then you work your way up, you're asking for more of the same, in my opinion. But we'll see where it goes. And again, you got to find the right people to fill the right positions, and that starts at the top. And I think it's probably for the best, let's be honest. Getting in is fine, but do you really want MBT leading this team limping in and then losing a playoff game and then justifying, oh, well, hey.
I think there's people trying to justify him back anyway.
Right. But if it
blows my mind.
If it would have gone even farther, that justification becomes more real. So I think for most fans, it's the case of the old Yeller.
Take it out back and shoot him in the head.
Right?
Spoiler alert. Jerry has threw a challenge flag on a play that he's not able to challenge and then lost his challenge because of it. It's not a good look. They've got, here's the thing. I like a lot of the pieces that they have.
Yeah. They're not getting spanked all over the field all the time. And it's situational mistakes, challenging, fumbles.
Nick Anderson, Niles Morgan, terrific middle and strong side linebackers. Their secondary has a bunch of playmakers in it now. They get beat a couple. Like Bratton should have played that one differently. I like some of the talent they got there. I think they need an improvement on their defensive line.
Pick a running back.
Offensively, if they just run it back with that offense and some sort of quarterback, I don't know, man. I'd still be like, hey, Larry Thompson, go get Herv, bring in VA, and just start fresh. Wow. Just start fresh.
There is weaponry.
Let's get into that's good for Italian Center.
What should I go get?
Actually, I have 4 take and bake pizzas. They're at home. I forgot to bring them in. I'll bring them in this week. You know what we'll do on Wednesday? We'll pop one in the toaster oven. And then when it
start the show, and then
it shouldn't take very long, right? You heat these bad boys up. It's pretty delicious. Hand stretched, house made dough, topped with their signature sauce and the best ingredients right from the deli. Our pizziolos have done the hard work, so you just need to throw them in the oven, and you look like a hero in 10 minutes.
That's what they call it.
That's what it says. Look, am I saying that
Tommy
right?
Tell us.
Pizziolo.
Pizziolo.
Pizziolo. Yeah, Pizziolos.
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 As long as you keep going like this.
Pizziolos have done the hard work, so you just need to throw them in the oven. You look like a hero. You look like a hero.
Tube Socks, I'm starting to think that maybe Jarius Jackson isn't for real. We might need a remix on that tune.
Yeah. You know what? It'll live on forever. Even like if the Jarius Jackson era is almost over, we will always have the Jarius Jackson is for real song. So that's nice. A couple of things I want to get to for that's good today. Tailgate looked amazing. Trev, you were holding down Ford at the tailgate. How was the Wanix chili? How was the Wanix meat sauce?
Only missing the spaghetti.
Beefy bolognese sauce. Yeah, it was good. Some people were like, when I mentioned what was in it, I was like, well, I don't really know, but I know there's no beans. And they're like, oh, terrific. And I'm like, what? Like,
that's what I would have said.
You got a small size. I gave them rations. But yeah, it was good, actually. Some people were like, hey, this is really good. And I'm like, thank you. Yeah, I made it myself. Zach and I were like, yep, this is ours. So
I can't believe you're claiming
Yeah.
The chili is your own.
Yeah. Well, only to the people that said it was good. And then people were like, there's some better ones. I'm like, yeah, my boss just
Jason
dropped this off.
Wolski had the gif of Macaulay. Holy smokes, he's cooking our garbage from Uncle Buck. There was a lot of good replies to the
spaghetti
But
sauce.
the tailgate looked like a pretty good time.
Oh, it was. Yeah. We were out of chili like an hour in. And
Wow.
so yeah, people were lining up. So it was good. And then
Do we know who ended up winning the chili cook-off?
I don't know
Did they
who
post
won.
it on socials?
I sampled about 4 or 5.
Everybody was saying that Jason and Andrea's was really
three
yeah,
bean.
they dropped it off.
3 bean.
3 different
he
beans.
Smoked. What did he do? He grilled the vegetables. The meat was like a brisket.
Who's this guy
But
think he
everybody was
is?
very
Gordon
inventive.
Ramsay?
Everybody was. It wasn't just a bunch of ground beef.
They had some
meat up,
spice in it. It was
Really?
so good. It was so
Wow.
good. Yeah. No.
that looked
I
Ian
really
definitely
McKinnon
like
had
theirs.
moose. That was delicious.
Moose.
No bean, moose chili.
Moose chili.
That's new.
He's
That's
gonna have
good.
turkey legs for the final home game. It was great. Like everybody had
legs, I
it
love
wasn't just all ground beef and
Yeah.
Matty Iwonic sauce. It was a lot
Yeah.
of like different types of people. That
Man,
really
that
had
looked like a
lot
real
out
good
there.
time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was. It was
The
really good
tailgate
time.
remains undefeated.
It's
Perfect.
such
Say
a
that.
dog.
And this was
The
like
weather was so good.
Yeah,
for
that's
that
what I was
game.
saying. Like a lot of the days, it was like scalding hot. It was 30 degrees or over that. But this time it was like perfect. It was that nice crisp, fall weather, fall breeze. It was just beautiful out.
I don't think you could have had a better October day for
That was my
football.
favorite
No.
day.
It was good. One of the other I like when organizations hop on something that just sort of naturally happens, organically happens. But the fact that at Elks games now they're doing the Larry fire truck race is pretty good.
You gotta hop on that.
That's pretty good. After he drove through the Stampeders sideline, they put 4 people in like these fire trucks, and they have to race down the whole field. They have to run the whole field. I didn't think the one guy was going to make it. The other guys were done. The person was at the 45. But I think like that type of stuff. I like that type of stuff. The fun little promotion. That's what the Riverhawks have done really well. Those guys were in here on the Hangout that one day talking about how they just sort of like find random stuff around the building and turning it into a contest, which I absolutely I love that stuff.
It's like the 780.
Yeah, the same type of thing. Like, this is a cool slogan.
it, yeah.
Let's put it on a shirt. Like, it's terrific, man. So yeah, that's good as well. That was good too. You know what else was good? The Muzz made her U9 debut this week. You see that one goal I posted on Twitter? She finds a soft spot in the defense, claps the stick on the ice a couple of times. One of her teammates, Ben, throws it out front to her. She 1-times it home.
No way.
Unbelievable. And then yesterday, she went in net. First time ever being a goalie with equipment on. This is U9, where it's usually high scoring. She lost our first game by a score of 2-1. And then she won the second game 5-3. Like, she just locked it down. Damn kid. She's a natural athlete, this one. She's, when she was loving it, I was watching her. She's standing in net with the pucks at the other end, and she's just like in a zone. As soon as she finished, she's like, can I play goalie next time? Yeah. And I was like, you're going to be my goalie?
Julie the cat.
Oh my
Gaffney.
God. I always wanted a goalie family. So anyway, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun as she made her U9 debut. It was good, but a nice goal. Just like, I couldn't believe it. Tam sent me the video because I was working the bloody Elks game. And yeah, stick tap, come, boom, one-timer from like 10 feet out.
Should have been out
pretty
at,
big.
South Fort Chev with the
She should have been out there.
clapper. Yeah.
Lisbeth goes out, shoots 95 miles an hour, or kilometers an hour.
Drops the stick and away we go.
This is incredible. So yeah, shout out to Muzz. Congratulations on her first U9 win between the pipes and her first U9 goal this weekend. All right, like I said, we got a busy show today. Very busy show. Up next, we haven't even got to the NFL yet. We're going to dive into the NFL coming up. Good, bad, and ugly from the weekend on the way. Darren Dreger makes his return to the show just after 7 o'clock. The Oilers roster is set. Is it better than the one that they ended last season with? They made significant changes, right? McLeod, gone. Fogle, gone. They bring in Skinner. They bring in Arvidsson. They get a little bit older.
Cece, gone.
We'll see what happens. Emberson's going to be on the back end with Darnell Nurse. Looks like Stetcher will be riding shotgun with Kulak. So we'll get into that with Dregs as we work our way through the show today. He's going to join us just after 7 o'clock. Ryan Rishaug returns just after 8:30 this morning. But yeah, we've got we got a lot to get to as we work our way through the show. So we're going to dive into the National Football League coming up. Loomis says, guys, do you think the Muzz sticks as a locker room nickname? Oh yeah, it's not just going to be, what's your name? Oh, Elizabethy. Like, that's just so lame.
Muzzy would be the, if you're going by the hockey.
Yeah, you're right. The Muzz, but it's got to be the Muzz. Yeah, no, 100%. All right, let's get to a sports update for Nisku Glass. If you're looking for a job and you want to work with some other AM nasties, Nisku Glass is the place for you. Rick's got more on that coming up. Not loading, Trev. We're gonna do the.
I can't do it naked.
Nothing's coming through. All right, let's do this. You're gonna do the update under a.
Yeah, give me some.
Oh, he's got it.
Kind of wanted the surprise here.
The rookie of the year.
Dak Prescott tossing a 4-yard touchdown pass with 20 seconds remaining. Cowboys 2017 over the Steelers. Both teams now sit on 3-2 records. You can join me tonight back at Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge as we wrap up Week 5 when the Chiefs host the Saints. Edmonton Oilers placing Josh Brown, Raphael Lavoie, Olivier Rodrigue, and Drake Caggiula on waivers yesterday. They also loaned Noah Philp back to Bakersfield. Oilers begin the regular season at home to the Jets Wednesday. Regular season action will continue tomorrow with a tripleheader down south. Oil Kings with a pair of losses over the weekend on the road to Brandon and Regina. The club began a 3-game homestand Saturday when they welcome in Red Deer. Football, Wildcats capping the PFC season with a 32-21 victory over the Winnipeg Rifles out in Sherwood Park. The Edmonton Huskies, meanwhile, ending their season with a 21-14 loss to the Hilltops out at the JP Bowl. Major League Baseball playoffs, Padres 10-2 over the Dodgers. That series now tied at 1. Phillies evening their series, the Mets at a game apiece with a 7-6 victory. Tigers visit Cleveland tonight with Cleveland up 1-0. And the Yankees look to go 2-0 up as they host the Kansas City Royals. Calgary 4-1 over Camrose in AJHL play, while Drayton Valley top Canmore 3-2. Action resumes tomorrow when Devon visits Grand Prairie. Nisku Glass is growing and now hiring. If you're a nasty that wants to work with other nasties and can cut glass and replace windshields, then we want to hear from you. Email your resume to info@niskuglass.ca or stop by our shop to apply today.
I can remember back being an 11-year-old kid, about 75 pounds on the basketball court against the neighborhood bully, kicking his behind left, right, and center.
I call you when I need you. My heart's on fire.
When it was all said and done, he was a little upset, so he punched me in the mouth.
You come to me, wild and wild.
My uncles were over on the side, observing, talking amongst themselves, adult things.
When you come to me, give me a...
When he punched me in my mouth, I decided to run into my uncle. You know what he did? He pushed me back to him. I went back and he punched me in my mouth again. I ran to my uncle, looking for protection. Needed Big Brother to protect me. He pushed me back again. And you know what I did? I faced him in the eyes and I said, my uncle's not going to help me. And I punched him in the face. Then I looked him in the eye and I said, then what? Now what? Now what? Now what are you going to do?
You're simply the best.
Davis Reed Pump Up song. Hey, congratulations to the boys of Whale and Wolf. Saw that tweet last night. Million streams on Midnight Riot, which is pretty, I mean, that's pretty sweet, boys. They've got a song that's now hit 1 million streams.
October 19, Midway Music Hall.
Gedfest. Get your tickets today. Gedfest.ca, I think is what it was. Yeah, there we go. Good, bad, ugly from the weekend coming up. If you need a conch this morning, hammer the, or just hit us up, 780-218-9999. Let us know why you need the conch. We'll try to mix it in for you today. If you're watching over on YouTube, we're 23 away from changing 100. So let's hammer that this morning as well. Good vibes today. Good vibes today. Somebody else, Hot Take Trev. What is it? Hot Take Kev. It says, hey, Dusty, agreed. The Larry fire truck race was fire. Also, I loved all the kids on the field post-game. Core memories for those kids. Hopefully lifelong CFL
Yeah, wins,
fans.
losses doesn't matter to them really at that time.
Oh,
you know?
no,
I mean, that's getting down there. And your kids were in the camp, too, with the players.
Yeah, they were in the camp with Gino and stuff. It was a lot. It was like the kids club camp. There are some positive things going on down there. They got to start delivering some dubs.
Yeah.
And I think they need to sort of put a couple new faces out there to lead the organization.
A little freshness wouldn't hurt. Yeah.
But we'll see how Larry Thompson sorts this thing out.
Speaking of dubs too, Trevor Lawrence, the investment is back.
Well, that was one of my five picks here.
We're going up.
I'm selling high this week. I'm selling high. Let's dive into 5 big takeaways from the National Football League yesterday. Selfishly, that's one.
Why not? First
I did
win,
have that one there. The Jags finally win. The investment, 371 yards, 2 touchdowns. But in the losing effort, man, Joe Flacco just continues to go. 359 yards, 3 touchdown passes, and one hilarious scramble where he slowly picked his way to this far sideline.
Jamar Flaxen? Anyone?
Jamar Flaxen. Did you steal that one from somebody?
It was somewhere on Twitter, yeah.
That's kind of funny, actually. Jamar Flaxen.
Anybody? I mean, you don't know which one's which.
Oh, that's good. Anyway, Joe Flacco, 359 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Just keeps
in a losing effort, but still, man, I mean, Joe Flacco can play. It's blows my mind, to be honest.
Almost though went a calendar year without a win.
Yeah, but they got one.
I mean, well, they did.
Yeah, great, cool. Now Doug Peterson gets to stick around.
Yeah.
Ugh. Puke in my mouth a bit. Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals. Now that's what you call a football game.
That's a divisional rivalry.
Who do these guys think they are? The CFL? 41-38 in overtime.
Ending the Bengals season?
1-4.
That's a crusher. That's a mental crusher.
Now the Bengals get the Giants next. If they lose to the Giants, their season is over. I mean, completely
count,
over.
you're kind of
that one just. I think the Bengals get the Giants.
But what?
next.
I mean, yeah. What a
Lamar's gonna be the MVP again. I mean, it's just.
Well, the rushing offense as a whole, the numbers.
We're gonna look at the MVP odds on the lock shop today, or I guess maybe those will be back up tomorrow. But I mean, Lamar yesterday, the one play where he got away and then he's on the run, he throws that touchdown to the back of the end zone. I mean, he's a bit of a freak. Lamar Jackson yesterday, 348 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 12 carries for 55 yards. For some reason, they went away from Derrick Henry for a long time in this game. He was sitting on like 30 carries or 30 yards on 11 carries, and I was in a full-blown meltdown. They went back to him in overtime, and he finishes with 92 yards. Had a touchdown in that game as well. Lamar spread it around yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different players with a reception in that game. The Ravens pushed the Bengals to 1-4 on the year.
They've outrushed their opponents by at least 100 yards in all 5 games this season. It's total domination. Not even a sniff. 754 yards they've outrushed their opponents by.
We've seen them.
5 weeks.
We've seen them be good in the regular season before. All that matters is, can the Ravens beat the Chiefs and or Bills in the postseason? That's what it comes down to. And we'll see. I mean, they're going to be there.
And by the way, all 3 are looking right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's three Giants.
Why not? But I mean, the Bills.
Yeah, well, the Bills. You're right, that's
struggles
true.
yesterday. I mean, the Chiefs, as we mentioned,
keep squeaking out wins. Yeah.
This is domination right now, albeit, as you say, regular season.
Cardinals beat the Niners. This is interesting because the Niners now go to 2-3 on the year. And they didn't score in the second half. I think they were up like 18-8 or so. They did not score. They're up 23. What was it? 23. Let me see. What was it at the half in this football game? It was 23-10. Yeah, it was 23-10 at the half. Cardinals come back and win 24-23. The Niners go to 2-3. Even without Christian McCaffrey, they're supposed to still have some weapons. What's going on with the San Francisco 49ers?
The red zone sucked.
Yeah.
Arizona stopping them in the red zone, 3 or 4 times there? Fumble field goals, forcing them to field goals. But, yeah, I mean, big win for Tommy's Cardinals. He's got to be loving that if he didn't turn it off at the half or whatever it was.
The Cardinals were 7.5-point underdogs in this game. And they ended up getting the not only the cover, but the win, which has happened a lot with these bigger dogs so far this year. More in the lock shop for Cool Bet at 11 o'clock today. That'll be a fun show. The Texans get by the Bills. I don't know if you were watching this, but what were the Bills thinking at the end of this football game? I mean, there was a great screen cap
I don't know what
last
they're
night.
thinking anymore. To be
And I
honest.
was watching this live when it was going down, but they get the ball back, and let me see if I see. Yeah, so here's the screen cap was the Bills somehow lost this game in regulation. It was 1st and 10 with 32 seconds left in the football game. 1st and 10 with 32 seconds left. They had the ball. They end up passing, take no time off the clock, kick it back, and the Texans kick a game-winning field goal. Deep shot, deep field goal to win it. But still, you got to manage the clock a little bit better in that spot. Like
Allen concussed, 9 of 30.
Was he concussed?
33. He took a real bad.
Was that I saw that play too when he got tracked down. He was on the run to his right.
Honest, they let him play or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just saying that's a hit that.
you
Dawson
know-
Knox nowhere to be seen. Shakir obviously not play. Like
He wasn't playing.
and Diggs the leading receiver, albeit no touchdowns, but leading in yardage gains. So that's a good kind of tail of the tape there if you want. But no, they're not. And it's a shame because it was a pretty good day by the defense. I thought
the defense played well.
He
CJ Stroud
did
only had
enough
one touchdown.
to win the game against a very strong Texans team. So I don't know. That's a concern. And now we go back to this whole Ravens, Chiefs, Bills discussion. And I know you go week to week and it's whatever the flavor is, but this offense stinks. Dawson Knox, nowhere to be found. Highest earner. Where is he? Not under there. I looked under the desk.
He wasn't there for people listening. He looked under the desk. I thought for a second, imagine if he is under the desk.
Wouldn't that be something?
Imagine if you're like, where is he? You look down and Dawson Knox comes out.
At least we'd have an answer. At least we'd have an answer.
I'd love to have a show where you could do anything you wanted in the world. Like we had a budget like McAfee, for goodness sakes.
Well, yeah.
And then you go, where's Dawson Knox? Oh, he's not. Oh, he is under the
And
table.
the most random people in the most random situations. Like Dawson, who'd have thought Dawson Knox, right? Like, anyways.
We got to talk about the Commanders as well. Now, I know it was the Browns,
Doesn't matter.
but some people have been talking
Doesn't
about,
matter.
the Browns defense. That's like their one sort of bright spot.
Instead of changing your name back, why don't you just start a young quarterback?
Oh, you're not getting that, Mitt.
I know.
But it's pretty good.
Well, no, but
That's pretty good.
Good for Commanders fans. I mean, the Jason Milne household, after his pulled pork yesterday, moving to 4-1.
Commanders are 4-1. I think you have to. I'm not going to put them in Super Bowl contender category,
But in the
I
NFC
think you have to kind of expect the Commanders to be a playoff team.
And in
now.
that division as well, why not? Dare to dream. And they look fun doing it.
Jaden Daniels. This is the interesting part of Jaden Daniels, especially in fantasy. He didn't even really have a good game, but in fantasy, he still had a good game. Because he had 82 yards on the ground, which goes a long way towards his over 550 yards on the season. Thank you, Cool Bet. 11 carries for 82 yards. It was only 14 to 25, 230 yards, touchdown, interception. It was killing me a little bit because they kept rushing in touchdowns, and it wasn't Jaden Daniels. It was driving me nuts. McNichols had one. Brian Robinson Jr. had two. But the Commanders' offense, I'd have to look it up. They might have the highest scoring team in the league right now. Like their last, let's see here, 34 points this week, 42 points last week, 38 points the week before that, 21 the week before that, and then 20 in a loss.
They're highest.
So
150,
are they?
155.
Okay. I figured they probably were. It's fun. That's a fun team to watch.
Yep.
Jane Daniels is fun to watch.
And again, in that conference and in that division, why not? I know the Vikings improved to 5-0. They're looking good. I mean, the Seahawks, 3-2, Cardinals behind them. Then you got the NFC South.
It's time for the Browns to go to Jameis Winston. He had one throw in the game yesterday for 16 yards. Well, I know, but I mean, come on.
Somebody told me you'd be saying that a few years back. That'd be a...
Red is in it. Says, guys, the Commanders play the Ravens next week. If they can do well against them, I think the Commanders are for real.
Hell of a game and hell of a test.
And
there,
I would say you don't even have to beat the Ravens.
Just to
but
show
if you
up.
can hang tight with the Ravens, that's going to go a long way in how people view you for the rest of the season. So that'll be a good one. Tube Socks is in it. Says, I will cheer for the Commanders every single time they wear that uniform set. Nice to see the gold pants back.
It's a good
I
trip.
got a soft spot for the Commanders. I really do.
Well, if you notice you hate them, why not? Yeah.
I don't mind the Commanders. That's pretty good. Monday Night Football tonight. What do you got on the go tonight?
Saints, Chiefs, Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, loaded burger on the special should be a hell of a night as Jocelyn and Jay continue their world/Olympic record for most attendances. They were down at the tailgate as well. Haven't been to a game in a long time, so good to see them down there. So yeah, it should be a good night and a hell of a game. We're going to spin the wheel soon. The wheel is thick today. The wheel is heavy.
There's a lot of names on that
nice
wheel
looking
today.
wheel. So yeah, join us
that.
tonight. Should be a fun game. I think even Atif might be down there. So
Atif's in the
a
house.
little bonus for you.
Holy
You had a
smokes.
good dose of them at South Fort Chev there on Friday.
Yeah, Atif was a South Chef. I shot him a couple times with a dart gun, but I only shot his feet.
You made his week.
Let's do this. Saints and Chiefs right now. Let's do the pick'em for Monday Night Football. Century Casino, Sports Bar and Lounge. Join Lieutenant Eric tonight. Kansas City Chiefs at home tonight. 5.5-point favorites, which means the Saints are 5.5-point road dogs. If you like the Saints plus the 5.5 points, text Saints. The early bird gets into the Monday Night Pick'em. That's the saying.
They say.
Saints plus 5.5. Text Saints to 780-218-9999. Chiefs minus 5.5. Text Chiefs to 780-218-9999. If you get it correct, you go into a draw tomorrow morning. We'll draw one of you. You'll be contacted. You'll win a gift certificate out to Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, where I've never had a bad time. Real good times out there.
And great food.
Yeah, I had the pizza. I had the meat lovers pizza when we were there.
You can't go wrong.
I was delicious.
It's like a 3-bean chili.
Yeah,
A little
totally.
variety.
Totally. That's what I want.
Get the brisket, the
3-bean
pepperoni.
chili. Who do you like here, Rick? Saints or Chiefs?
I think you could probably put your clip away here.
You're going with the Chiefs at home.
It's Arrowhead.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
prime time. I know. And we squeaking past, and what was it, 5.5?
5.5.
I mean,
big number.
yeah,
They win
Saints
close
are-
games. They
I
win
know.
close games. But all right, if you like Rick and you like the Chiefs to 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999.
Savage the Plumber and Renee from Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. They're in Bali, Indonesia. They've been in the nasty chat all morning long. They keep saying good evening. But Savage is on the Saints plus 5.5. Can't text in, obviously. But we'll be putting Bali, Indonesia on the map later today.
So
a
that's
nice little trip, yeah.
Bali is in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
BA.
Bali was its own country.
BAL.
What are the odds of that?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you learn something new every day.
Put it down for the
I'll
wrap.
make that
Put
note
it down
there.
for the
Yeah,
wrap, yeah.
I learned that Bali was actually in Indonesia. Indonesia. Indonesia?
Hey,
Whatever.
Pizziolo.
Doesn't matter. Well, I got to figure out how to say that. But all right, let's dive into our good, bad, and ugly from the weekend. What do you got for your good?
I've gone NFL here, and I've kind of gone what we've already went over. The Washington Commanders, 82 yards rushing, 238, a touchdown and a pick. That's for Jaden Daniels. Great numbers, and as you mentioned, it's not something that stands out and is a perfect game by any means, but doing what you need to do to win. The rushing yards, obviously, shades of RG3, and setting up a hell of a game with the Ravens in Week 6. The 10-point fourth quarter comeback, I mean, again, and putting a dagger in a divisional rival. That makes it all the much more sweeter. So I think Commanders winning their fourth straight, 4-1 now, doing what they've done. I mean, the Ravens beating the Bengals.
Yeah,
But the Commanders doing what they did. I'm also going to go to the Ravens, though, in that Bengals game. 10-point fourth quarter comeback. Lamar Jackson doing what he does. And I mentioned the rushing yards as well. 175 yards rushing. They've outrushed their opponents by at least 100. All 5 games, 754 yards so far this season. That's dominant. So the Ravens rushing attack combined with the Commanders and another impressive day by Jaden Daniels and moving to 4-1. These two teams, Week 6. What do you say? Into the veins?
Yeah,
right?
it's a injected into my veins reference.
Yeah.
You know what? Because they're having so much success running the ball, you know what they should do? The Ravens should just throw it a bunch of times with MBT.
We can keep making these jokes now. They're out of the playoffs, I think. I had the Trey Ford one with Jaden Daniels. You got the...
Yeah.
Let's keep it going. Why not? It's probably good, too, that the Elks are kind of... As I said, this now, you can rip the Band-Aid off,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like, I
the
don't think
Band-Aid's totally
because
ripped
you
off.
squeak into the playoffs, you can justify this, that, and the other. No, not anymore.
What they should do with the Elks now is if you have a Band-Aid on your arm, you put it in water and just let it get loose, and then it just falls off. Right,
Yeah.
just a slow. That's kind of what it was. This
And then
Band-Aid
you look
wasn't
down
ripped
and
off.
it's
It was
gone.
just like
You don't
it's
even know
gone.
when.
Yeah,
It's just
it's somewhere else in your body. You don't even know.
Yeah.
You find it 2 days later.
in the bed.
Changing 100. Let's do it, Trev. Let's see if the board's working this time.
Changing 100.
Boom. The kid's back. He's back. Oh, baby. I love it. My good from the weekend, and Trev brought this up too today. Respect. Preseason action, but LeBron James and LeBron James Jr. Bronny on the court together yesterday for the first time. Like, just that's a cool moment. You've never seen it before in the history of the NBA.
But they got the before and after pictures, him holding his kid when he's winning the championship, and now they're on the bench.
Like, whatever. I don't care about haters today. Like, that was a neat moment.
Jordan never did it.
Nope. Yeah, fair point. If you want to put it into the conversation.
It's just another bullet point to your whole sheets and sheets of paper that
played with son. Check.
Just waiting for it.
No, but I thought that was pretty cool, man. I thought that was neat. All right, Trev, feel free to chime in if you have any good, bad, and uglies from the weekend as well. Rick, where are you going for your bad?
Well, it's probably good that the preseason over, but a loss as well to cap the preseason for the Oilers 4-1. We said and a few goals. Like, it's just. It's not a squeaker, a 2-1 or a 3-2 or something like that, but 4-1. Again, it was a bad preseason, I think, for the Oilers, record-wise. Now, nobody cares about that. I get it. We don't even care about the regular season. We're on to the playoffs. Like, that's what we're kind of doing here. But again, it's a bit of a cautionary tale, right? 10-3, your final 2 games aggregate. And we said that to the start of the preseason as well with that aggregate score. So, I mean, come on, you can't slice it any which way. They were looking at things. They made some roster moves. That's fine. We move on. I'm not going to harp too much about it. But a bad will be the preseason from a team that's picked to go all the way, having a record as they are, and letting the goals in as much as they did.
You know what? I was just thinking about this as you were talking about the Oilers preseason.
Doesn't mean a lick, though.
And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. This is not like supposed to be some sort of like shot at anybody. But was the bright spot of the Oilers preseason a guy who could possibly be your fourth line center, and he's been sent down anyway? But like, is that?
We've said we used to view preseasons as the be all end all.
Yeah.
And now if that's the only thing you're kind of looking at and getting out of it all, sure,
well,
fine.
yeah, sure. But I would have been nice if the story of the preseason was, wow, Skinner looks great with Draisaitl.
Yeah.
Like that type of stuff. Trevor, am I wrong to think that the highlight of the preseason was Philp and how he looks like he'll be an NHLer at some point? I can't think of anything else that would even rival that for storylines from the preseason.
Yeah, aside from that, like I'd maybe say like the Arvidsson-Leon connection, maybe like we're wondering if there was anything
people are talking
to that going forward, or if there was going to be any chemistry there, and it looks like there is. But for sure, like I think that showed that Noah Philp is a lot more NHL ready than a lot of us had him pegged to be. Because I know for me, like I didn't think he would have made it this far, and it was like a 50-50 coin toss. Like I think he performed way better than Derek Ryan. So I'm curious to see what they said, but I'm pretty sure it's something like, you were this close, like just keep on working and you're going to be up here in no time. And so, yeah, I completely agree with you.
Loomis is in and says, guys, the bright spot was management acknowledging mistake and waiving Josh Brown.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, if that's where we come in, if that's fine too, I guess.
That's fine too.
My bad from the weekend. I saw this. What was it? Lauren, I think, put this on Twitter. The drummer Dale.
Yes,
passed away.
Yes, yeah, I saw
That's
that
kind
too.
of sad. That guy was at like every event.
He was a relative,
banging on those damn drums.
Yeah.
Apparently he's passed away. So that's kind of
sad. Up and down life. As I read that it was a kind of a long form tweet, I think it was, or a note on there. But
yeah, that's kind of sad.
A legend, one of those street legends, hey, that we all kind of.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows who we're talking about.
Yeah.
The guy who was always hammering the drums. That's sad. Tough one. Ugly from the weekend.
Aaron Rodgers crawling around the field like an infant, or
and then he was back.
Well, and the Jets are ugly right now too. I mean, you fly all that way to and they're funny. I gotta laugh. And again, no matter how bad the Bills are kind of right now, you can always look at the Jets and say, well, it's the Jets. The crawl. It's the crawl. People are memeing it to death. It's funny. I'm finding it funny, but it's an ugly look. He's an old man and he's crawling around the field abroad.
H.E. Pennypacker's in. He was at the tailgate. H.E. Pennypacker says, good, the Dodgers getting smoked yesterday. The ugly, they're idiot fans throwing things at outfielders. Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous, wasn't it?
That's playoff baseball, baby.
Yeah, that was that's lame. My ugly from the organization, I have to go back to the Elks here. And they made it interesting looked like crowds improved throughout the year, which is a positive. I like some of the stuff they're doing off the field. But the ugly here is that you've now finished another losing season where you are going to miss the playoffs. And we still don't know if Trey Ford can be a number one quarterback moving forward. Like, you've wasted another year in trying to figure out if that's the case. It would have been nice to come out of this year, even if you missed the playoffs, which they very well might have. I know some people are like, if you played Trey Ford, you would have made that. Who knows? Who knows? We'll never know. And I'm in the situation with Trey. Like, I look at Trey Ford and I don't know. Like, I know there's some people who claim, like, he can start in this league. And I still don't know that. And he's been here for 3 years. And I don't think anybody can accurately say whether or not he's a CFL starting quarterback.
I know one person who might.
Well, I know a couple.
But I
think it's a little misled because we don't know. Like, there's no decent sample size of him being able to be the guy. When he got a sniff this year, he got hurt again. And then never really got it back. Should have, but didn't. So here you are, you're missing the playoffs again, and we're still sitting here going, well, is Trey Ford the guy? And we don't know. It would have been nice to have known, let's say he gets every start this season, unless he gets hurt again. I mean, but let's just say you gave him 12, 13, you give him the 13 starts MBT got. You might have a bit of a better read on exactly who you have moving forward. Now, if you sign this guy to a long-term contract and it backfires, we're going to sit here and go, well, you never even really knew what you had when you signed him because you never played him. So I feel like it's a missed opportunity to figure out your quarterback situation going forward. As of this moment, it shouldn't be MBT. And I don't know how you can commit the organization to just Trey Ford moving forward. I don't think you can do that. So congratulations, you accomplished nothing at quarterback this year.
Purgatory, hey?
Well, that's the thing. You're stuck in no man's land right now. So, I don't know.
But we've said, too, options, you go to the flip side. Where's Trey Ford going to go to get a better shot, arguably, if it doesn't all pan out here? I don't think the bridges are totally burnt, as some people like to think. Maybe, hopefully not, I guess, if you're in the Trey Ford camp. But we've done the little experiment where else he could go, and you know, there may not be any other place to get better time or a better shot at getting that starting job.
I don't think you're seeing him next year as a 100% 1A starting quarterback anywhere else in the league.
Yeah.
It might be like either, competing with, like, let's say Bo retires. He goes back home to Hamilton. Him and Powell are fighting for the job.
Maybe,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's not, there's no way the Ticats are going to go to Taylor Powell and say, hey, Trey Ford's going to start ahead of you. Like, I just don't see a world where that happens.
And if you have a competition there, Powell's had arguably way more experience, albeit both young careers.
So it might not work out elsewhere, but I just don't know how, if you think it's going to work out here, then why didn't you look at him more? Like, I don't think, I know Jarius and G-Roy, if they're still here, aren't giving him the number one job next year. It's not happening. They could have done it this year. They didn't. So I don't know. I don't know what happened.
And the MBT question was large as well. I don't know what. I mean, I don't think he would be starting anywhere else, and not that we need to worry about that.
You bring MBT back for a year, and then you still have to find another quarterback moving forward. That doesn't make any sense either. So I have no idea what's happening in the quarterback position, and I don't know how coming out of a season like this, when really all you had to do was figure out your quarterback position moving forward, you didn't do it. Tough look. All right, 780-218-9999. Johnny Accountant says, guys, we will be able to watch Trey Ford become a starting superstar in Toronto next season. Orca drivers in this says, guys, I think they need to go all in on VA, and it's not going to cost you a lot to get VA. The Lions are going to want that contract off their books.
Yeah.
You should be able to get VA for nothing. And then, take a legitimate run at it that way.
And we've seen how he can build a team and rally a team behind him as well, eh? In terms of just getting people on his side. And now the health is a concern with him too, I would say, but
All right, we'll continue with that conversation as we work our way through the show. Rishaug, who's on sidelines with me on Saturday, he's going to be by around 8:35. We'll talk Oilers with him, but we got to get his thoughts on this whole Elks situation as well. Darren Dreger is coming up on the other side for Pro-Am Sports. Let's get to a sports update right now for Green Plan with Lieutenant Eric.
Dak Prescott tossing a 4-yard touchdown pass with 20 seconds left. Cowboys escape Pittsburgh with a 2017 victory. Both teams now sit at 3-2. Joining me tonight at Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge as we wrap up Week 5, it's the Chiefs hosting the Saints. Oilers placing Josh Brown, Raphael Lavoie, Olivier Rodrigue, and Drake Cajula on waivers yesterday. Also loaning Noah Philp back to Bakersfield. Edmonton began the regular season at home to the Jets Wednesday. Regular season action resumes tomorrow with a triple-header down south. Oil Kings with a pair of losses over the weekend on the road to Brandon and Regina. The club are back home to begin a 3-game homestand Saturday when they host the Rebels. Edmonton Wildcats capping the PFC season with a 32-21 victory over the Winnipeg Rifles out in Sherwood Park. Huskies, meanwhile, ending their season with a loss 21-14 at home to the Saskatoon Hilltops. Major League Baseball playoff action saw the Padres smash the Dodgers 10-2, evening that series at a game apiece. Phillies as well, tying their series with the Mets with a 7-6 win. A pair of games in the ALDS tonight, Tigers in Cleveland with Cleveland up 1-0. Yankees host the Royals, leading that series 1-0. Back over to hockey, AJHL action, Calgary 4-1 over Camrose, while Drayton Valley topped Canmore 3-2. Action resumes tomorrow when Devon visit Grand Prairie. Sports Update brought to you by Green Plan, providing you with award-winning environmental planning and consulting service. Whether it's municipal, industrial, or residential, plan it right with Green Plan. Visit green-plan.com or give them a call at 780-455-4292.
The Nielson Show, featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
.703 on the Nielson Show. Thank you very much for being here today. We appreciate it. Nielson Show presented to you by South Fort Chevrolet. Go see Daniel and his family-friendly team at South Fort Chev. Tell him EST sent you, and you'll get an additional $1,000 credit on your trade-in vehicle, and they will not be beaten by any price. Find the best deal you want in Edmonton, Sherwood Park, Spruce, Leduc, Devon. I don't care. Then take it out to Fort Sask, and South Fort Chevrolet will beat it. www.southfortchev.com. We're coming at you from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio today. Lots of text messages rolling in on the Elks quarterback situation. X-Ray J says, Dusty, you had been all over management. Had the starts been switched? Why pay MBT all that money? I would not have been all over them, I'll tell you that, if they would have switched. I mean, I don't know why they paid MBT all that money to miss the playoffs. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, Jones was heading into a season where he was
trying to save his job.
That was the justification. And that's a tough spot, too, when you have a coach coaching like that and making moves like that, and a GM making moves like that.
Fun discussions to be had.
Lots of angles.
Down the stretch. They get Calgary this week, and then they wrap up at home against Toronto.
But again, head out to the tailgate for that one. Smoked turkey legs. The tailgate remains undefeated. It's a great time.
It is a good time. Can you imagine the tailgate vibe if they were good? / when they get good.
Dare to dream, baby.
That'll be pretty impressive. Very impressive. All right, coming up here in hour number 2, we are going to spin the random wheel for an anytime touchdown score tonight in Monday Night Football. We have the keyword for the EST flyaway to Los Angeles, presented by 780. We are giving somebody a chance to win a trip for 2 down to Los Angeles, December 26th to December 30th. You're going to get Warriors Clippers. You're going to get Cardinals Rams. You're going to get Edmonton versus either the Kings or the Ducks, depending on the scheduling of the National Football League game. Mike Tanier will be by around 7:30. We'll get into the fan zone for fansfirst.ca as well. But right now, let's bring in Darren Dreger, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. Let Pro-Am help. This is cool. I like the way they do this. Let Pro-Am help you with your team fundraiser with a no-risk auction and raffle items. Visit them in store for all the details. Located in Edmonton at the corner of St. Albert Trail and 128th Ave, or online at proamsports.ca. So if you have a fundraiser, kids sports teams, all things like that, pop in, talk to the Cooks and Boys, and they'll let you know how you can get in with the no-risk auction and raffle items. There he is. Dregs, good morning. How you doing, man?
Hey, very good. Listening to you guys tee up the tailgate, and you had me at the smoked turkey leg. Right
I'll save one for you, Darren. Well,
all of it. Yeah.
This week they had the chili cook-off. There must have been over 20 different chilies.
Yep.
It was judged. It was, like I said, what's weird is over the last 3 years of, not good results from the local football team, the tailgate is just blown up.
Undefeated.
This is
That's
something about
awesome.
tailgating, Dregs. It's a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. Hey,
Well, look, I mean, I've never been to one in the NFL. I'm not that kind of a guy, right? Maybe it's because we work in pro sport. How many opportunities do you have to actually tailgate? But if it can drift north of the border, then I'm all for it.
my thing when I'm calling these Elks games, or Calgary has a good tailgate as well. Where I park at Commonwealth, I have to walk through the tailgate.
you have to walk through the tailgate.
I get to walk through the tailgate, and it's a pretty good time. I talked to a lot of people. It's a lot of fun. How was your summer, Dregs? What was the highlight of the summer for you? What'd you do?
Well, as you know, we spent a lot of time at our place in Manitoba, Lake of the Prairies. So lots of things, man. We did a lot of stuff, a lot of golf, did a fair amount of fishing. I had yet another bear encounter, which seems to be kind of par for the course there. Yeah, so we had a group of people from Ontario came to visit us, and we'd talked about these, bear encounters, and so they were there for 5-6 days and didn't see one until the morning that they're about to leave, and a black bear saunters onto our property, and one couple was staying in our walkout basement, and outside the basement window, we've got an outdoor shower and plants, flower gardens, all of us. Anyway, there's a hanging planter, and this big black bear ambles in there and decides that it likes the smell of the planter. He wants to take a bite out of the flowers in this pot, gets on its hind legs, and now you can envision this. It's like a movie, right? So this couple is in the bedroom. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning, and all you hear is, "Oh my God!" Like this black bear was coming through the window, but nobody was harmed, including the black bear. But that's probably right up there with one of the highlights.
Yeah, that's wild. Okay, I
the great outdoors written all over.
Yeah, I didn't bump into a bear this summer. That's a great story. I think that's terrific. It was an interesting summer for the Oilers. They've gone through preseason. They're going to open the year so far, as of this moment, with 12 forwards, a couple of the new guys in the mix, and then Travis Dermott's still looking for a deal. He's on the PTO, but he's stuck around. They've waived Josh Brown. They've waived Raphael Lavoie. Noah Phil's been sent down as well. Just your thoughts on maybe watching from afar a little bit here as the Oilers have worked their way through a little bit of a lackluster preseason, but the roster came through it healthy, and I don't think you can complain about that.
No, you can't complain about that, but the reality is they didn't play very well in the preseason, and there's no reason to sound alarms. Look across the league. I mean, every preseason is a bit of a challenge for all of us trying to, we can come up with the storylines, guys in the bubble, young players taking a step developmentally. So from a media perspective, there's nothing to complain about. There's always stories to talk about. But it felt like this year more than perhaps any other in the last 10 years. This preseason was just kind of ho-hum, aside from, the Swayman controversy, some of, again, the sidebar topics that kept our attention. And I would extend that into Edmonton as well. Now, tough act to follow, right? You lose Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final to the Florida Panthers. Everyone in Oilers Nation is looking at that roster and going, okay, well, how do we compare the team that we're seeing in this preseason, the team that's about to start the regular season, to what we watched through the Stanley Cup Final? And that's where it gets tough. And maybe there is a bit of a sag or a bit of a letdown, but look, there's enough character in that lineup, high-end talent in that lineup, that, there's change here. And we have all kinds of questions, especially on defense. I mean, if I'm kind of putting an asterisk beside an area of concern, I'm wondering about how mobile and how impactful that blue line is going to be. But until you start playing games that matter, we're not going to know that. But every team in the league right now is asking the same questions. Are we deep enough here? Are we good enough there? And that includes the 2 Stanley Cup finalists.
Well, Darren, I'm glad you bring up the preseason, too, because the Oilers, I guess, another plus was avoiding that preseason injury bullet that seemed to have been grazing a lot of rosters out there. But you mentioned the defense, and rightly so. Switching to that forward group, a couple of guys in, a couple of guys out. What's your level, I guess, not of concern, but just question marks when it comes to that forward group, whether it's top 6, bottom 6 in terms of depth, because I think a lot of people make arguments that McLeod and Fogle, that's a good thing. But do you see Skinner and Arvidsson as good fits here? I think we've seen Arvidsson a little bit more with Draisaitl, but where do you kind of see that forward group meshing in and blending in together?
Well, the way the top 6 is designed, I mean, you look at your number 1 line, okay, no surprise, no real adjustment necessary there. And Nuge has proven that you can play him in varying roles, in that top 9, let alone the top 6. I'm intrigued by Jeff Skinner, hot and cold. I think that would best kind of describe the career that he had in Buffalo with the Sabres. But this guy has proven historically that he can put the puck in the net. So is there going to be a mesh or chemistry that develops with Skinner, Arvidsson, and Leon Draisaitl? I'm a fan of Victor Arvidsson. I like the way that he plays the game. He's an honest hockey player. He works incredibly hard, decent two-way talent there. So if they can find lightning in a bottle offensively between Draisaitl and Skinner, with Arvidsson digging around in that, I think it's a top 6 that can work. But am I sure of that?
Yeah.
No, I'm not certain of that. But look, I mean, if you want to go back a little bit, and this isn't an indictment of McLeod. I just felt like, and I'm sure the fan base was the same, and you guys were the same as well. You could see Ryan McLeod and the talent that you expect him to develop into, he just couldn't get there. He just couldn't find a way to get there every night, right? And so I think the change for him is healthy, and it's new opportunity for the Oilers. I like Warren Fogle. Man, when he was on his game, he was just a big, heavy, strong guy out there. But there's only so many things you can control. And with the cap being what the cap is in Edmonton, they knew that coming out of the Stanley Cup final, there was going to be significant change. Maybe didn't expect the offer sheet drama that took place with the St. Louis Blues. But again, before we look back and say they're just not as good, let's see it unfold in the first 10, 15, 20 games first.
Well, and that's kind of where I wanted to go because, obviously last year's start was a disaster. We don't see that coming again. But is it reasonable to think, we lost Dregs. We'll reconnect. I don't know. That was
Bear got him.
That was there. Oh, he was back. We lost you for a second. Eric joked to Bear gotcha. That was well timed, Eric. Should we? Is it reasonable for us to expect like a little bit of a long playoff run hangover, a Stanley Cup run hangover with this group coming out of the gate?
I don't think it's reasonable, but I understand, why you think that, Dusty. Again, and I guess what fuels that sort of thinking is the snippets and what we've seen in the Amazon series, right? And just the emotional toll, the investment from all of those guys. I mean, we're captivated by the sound bites and by the video that we've seen from the captain, Connor McDavid, but to a man in that group. They felt the same. Maybe we just didn't see it because the camera wasn't focused on them. So I feel like that's probably behind them. And I'm always reminded of, maybe it was the Boys in the Bus series, right? Of the Oilers back in the day when they actually didn't know how to win until they saw what the New York Islanders had to go through, the price physically that they had to pay to win. There wasn't a whole lot of celebrating. These guys were, dragging around ice bags because that was the investment that was required. So maybe the Oilers saw that firsthand. And maybe Florida needed to see that the year before and getting to the Stanley Cup final and then falling there as well. So if I'm willing to consider the idea of the Stanley Cup hangover, and we just had Paul Maurice of the Florida Panthers on the Rain Dregs podcast recently, and we talked about that. I mean, if there's a team that is ever going to have to actually go through it, wouldn't it be Florida? Having been to the Stanley Cup final in back-to-back years and then getting pushed to a Game 7. So, again, look, we know who the head of the snake is in Edmonton. And there are multiple pieces to that. And it's McDavid, and it's Draisaitl, and it's Hyman, and it's Nuge, and it's Ekholm, and it's Bouchard. Darnell Nurse has to be better. Hope for good health. Let's hope that he gets healthier and get close to 100%. He needs to be better. So the bigger pieces, the backbone of this organization are still very much there. So I don't think there will be a hangover. I don't.
Dregs, we can't let you go without talking about Swayman and them finally getting something done. And it's funny when you see Cam Seabass there last week go 64 million reasons. Then the deal comes in at 825,000. I mean, was Swayman holding out for an extra $250,000, or how did they get this done all of a sudden?
Kind of seems that way, sure. Yeah. And in fairness to Jeremy Swayman, and this has been written about and talked about, but I don't think that the fans maybe appreciate how significant it is. He went through that arbitration experience, which just flat out sucks as a player, because it is the job of management to tear you down in that process, because you're trying to get the best deal possible at the time. And so, yeah, they turned Jeremy Swayman into Swiss cheese in arbitration. The problem is he took notes. And then he went, okay, well, they didn't think I could handle playoff pressure. Ding. Look, he was a pretty good playoff performer. So I think he had a whole lot of ammunition working in his favor. But the one thing I would never question about most players, in this case specific to Jeremy Swayman, was his want to be in that room, go through training camp, the preseason, and be ready for the start of the regular season. The guy spent all season in Boston training and working out with those guys, right? He wanted a deal. He wanted what he and Louis Gross's agent believed was fair. I don't think Jeremy Swayman is that close to Connor Hellebuyck. Sorry, I don't. And Connor Hellebuyck is an $8.5 million goalie, annual average salary. Swayman hasn't proved that in 140 plus NHL games, but he had the leverage. Boston traded Linus Hallmark before July 1st, and they put all the eggs into one basket, which was Jeremy Swayman. So, look, I know everyone in Boston is thrilled they got it done, and the theatrics that went around it, including Cam Neely. That'll live in history, because that soundbite is classic Seabass. Classic Seabass. So we had some fun with it, but cooler heads prevailed, and Swayman is in the crease where he should be.
What's the schedule like for the pod this year? You guys just kind of banging them out the same rate as last year?
Yeah, we're on a bit of a different schedule this year just because of travel. Ray is more flexible on Mondays. So first of the week normally come out Monday. So we'll be doing a pod later this morning here. And then again on Thursday. And we've got a big time guest cooking for Thursday. So we've got some good ones already out of the gate. We dusted off Garth Snow last week. You don't hear a lot from Garth Snow. Had some fun with Garth. Before that, as I mentioned, it was Paul Maurice. So yeah, we're 2 a week. We're in full roll. We just got to get Ryan Rishaug, who runs the company now, to get off his wallet and start paying some bills.
Yeah. Good luck with that. All right. We'll tell him when he's on at 8:30 today. You're looking for a raise. How's that sound?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Dregs. We'll talk to you later, man.
All right, guys. Thank you.
There you go. That's Darren Dreger. He'll be with us every single Monday just after 7 o'clock. Brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. Let Pro-Am help you with your team fundraiser with no risk auctions and raffle items. Visit them in store. I got a couple of different options there. I chatted with Jack about this in the past. But visit them in store for all the details. Located in Edmonton, the corner of St. Albert Trail, 128th Ave, online at proamsports.ca. Me being a parent and a coach of U9 and U11 teams, there's the bottle drives, there's the cash calls. But Pro-Am's a great place to go. Set up some raffle auction items and no risk to your group, and hopefully make some money off it. So check them out. Swing by in store, talk to the cooks and boys, or hop on their website, www.proamsports.ca. Scalding Gourd is in this morning. This is a pretty good one. Neely's comments caused Jeremy to sway, man. Oh, boy. Not bad. I don't know if it's going to win Texas.
For a Monday, it's a good Monday one. It wakes you up,
That's not a bad Monday text.
Gives you a nudge.
Hey, if you're watching over on YouTube right now, hammer the thumbs up for us. That would be great. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or EdmontonSportsTalk.com, just text a link to EST to all of your buddies. It was good at the tailgate. I know you guys. What you guys have some? Like you were promoting the giveaway, the EST flyaway right there at the tailgate. I saw Zach and you talking to people and being like, "Here's what we're doing." And I
mentioned it a few times. He was always like I was like, I'll dish out the chili and you can just talk to them. And he's like, oh, okay, sounds good. And then every now and then he was like, no, do you think we could switch it up? I kind of want to dish out the chili. I'm like,
that's
okay,
good, yeah.
I can do that. And then he'd be like, people would come and he'd be like, "Oh, how's it going, guys?" And he'd completely forget about it. He'd be like, "Oh, you're on the chili again." I'm like, "Well, you're asking them about your shoes. Like, pretty sure they just want chili right now." He's like, "Oh," and every time. So, but yeah, Zach was doing a really good job about talking about the flyway to LA.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good to let people know that we're giving away a trip for two to Los Angeles. All they have to do is listen. They just have to listen. They get the keyword. They text it in. Maybe they qualify. Maybe they end up winning the trip to LA just for listening to Edmonton Sports Talk.
A lot of chances as well throughout the day. I mean, that's the best part. And I think as well, saw a lot of Edmonton Sports Talk waters in the house on the tailgate. Best waters at the tailgate. The best.
Not even close.
Just the best.
Nobody does water like we do water. It's as simple as that.
Individually bottled.
Yeah, it's terrific.
Zach down at the creek. It's
just
a beautiful thing.
This is no. What Zach does is he drive when I drive back to Cranbrook. There's a spot between Cranbrook and Fernie where water's coming out of the mountain.
Yeah.
And we send Zach down there with his vehicle, and all of our how many bottles of water did we have? 1,500 or something. And he filled up each one of them
by hand
with mountain water.
Yeah.
And then he drove them back. And then he got to the tailgate and he started talking with everybody and forgot to give them away. But the best water you'll ever see. The best water you'll ever see. So do you think Swayman gets this deal and gets the extra $250,000 and goes, point proven? Like, is that what it came down to?
Checkmate.
I feel like just because, not like $250,000 is a lot of dollars. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of money. But I think this was probably a thing where the agent went to Cam Neely and said, okay, you've said $64 million's as high as you're going. Well, guess what? Go $66 million over 8 years. We win, and you get your goalie.
Yeah. Everybody's happy.
To be honest with you, I think Swayman did really well here. Swayman's played 140 games. He just got $66 million.
As Dreger pointed out, yeah.
Congratulations, man. You win. Now get between the pipes and win.
Or you got the bag.
Corey B says, guys, what about Damon Bunting water? Well, Damon Bunting water is the best water ever.
He goes
Ours is the best water at the tailgate.
He brings that back from Switzerland. Right?
Yeah, a lake in Switzerland.
It's the high end.
Timberwoodsman says, guys, that water saved my life. Saved my night. Beer, water, beer.
I tell you, when everybody's serving alcoholic drinks, tent that's got the water.
Hampton Steve is a realist. Says, morning, boys. Does the Swayman contract set the bar for Skinner's next contract? They're in a similar age and games played, but Skinner has more success in the playoffs and will likely be on the Four Nations Olympic team. Four Nations and Olympic teams. We'll see. That's a fair
future
point.
problem.
Let's not worry about that right now. Okay? Let's not worry about that right now. It'd be a lot of money.
Damn you, Swayman.
What have you done, Swayman? Skinner was supposed to come in at 6. What has happened? All right, hammer the thumbs up over on YouTube. Let's get to let's spin the wheel here. Then we're going to give you the key word for the EST Flyway. Actually, you know what? Let's do the keyword for the Flyway now. Then we'll spin the wheel. Trev, let's call our winner before we get to the update because we got Tanier coming up right after the update. So let's do the keyword right now for the EST Flyway to Los Angeles, presented to you by 780. You know how you checked out these guys. They got a ton of great stuff. The 780, homegrown local shop right here at Edmonton. 780 is both the shop name and their in-house clothing brand that celebrates all things unique to E-Town. They also work with close to 100 local vendors from the 780 area code to help promote and get their brands off the ground in their store. Check them out online at 780. It's the word 7 and then the number 80.com. 780, so SEVEN80.com, or at any of their 5 locations: Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport, where Eddie the Gambler made a visit and picked up a bunch of stuff.
Boy, did he.
When he was in town this week to produce the Elks game. Also, check out their Bird of Beef underwear line. Best damn underwear I've ever had in my life. It's terrific. All right, your keyword today. What's today's date, boys? October 7th?
7th of October already.
All right, yeah, October 7th. October 7th keyword is, so you just text us in. Then you have a chance. Text the word SCORE. SCORE. Text SCORE. right now. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Text the word SCORE right now to the Paris Jewelers inbox. Trev will give you about 5 minutes, 4 minutes maybe. Call one of you, and you are going to be in the mix for a trip for two to Los Angeles, California, United States of America.
It's a hell of a movie. The Score.
I think I saw that one
De Niro, Marlon Brando.
I think my favorite SCORE thing is the app.
Very informative.
That SCORE app's pretty
Keeps
good.
you up to date.
I like the chocolate bar.
Oh, wow. It's totally spelled differently. Not to confuse people. I don't think I've ever had a SCORE chocolate bar.
Get out of here.
Swear to God. I'm a Mars bar guy through and through.
It's the best Blizzard out there, easily.
Nope.
Yeah.
I have
Score Blizzard?
Cookie dough Blizzard.
Yeah.
Cookie dough Blizzard's the go-to Blizzards.
I respectfully
SCORE,
disagree
doesn't the
there.
SCORE bar look weird? Doesn't it look like marbled countertop?
It kind of, I guess, maybe, yeah. But it's delicious. Kind of. It's the best.
I guess I should try it before you. You know what?
I'll get you one.
So what does it taste like, boys?
It's a taste to its own,
Is there
actually.
chocolate in there?
It's a chocolate
What's the
coating,
deal?
yeah. The inside is just like it's a magical land.
Very unique.
Is it peanut butter? What's inside, boys?
It's like what is it? Caramel, like a
It's
hard
like a hardened caramel. It's kind of like you know when they get syrup and they put it on the snow in the wintertime,
God, I love doing
like
that.
that type
Yeah.
of thing. It's kind of like that, I would say. It doesn't
good.
taste like maple syrup, but it's kind of got that. It's got a crunch to it.
Thinking
It's
about
very
trying
good.
one.
Score Blizzard will change your life.
We'll bring you in one. We'll all have a score.
Let's have a SCORE tomorrow
Let's have
morning.
I
a
was the
score.
same way. I was M&M or Oreo, and then I had a Score Blizzard, and I've never gone back.
Pretty good.
Come on.
It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
That was like
What?
7 years ago.
Okay, I got to try a SCORE bar here. Tomorrow morning on the show, SCORE bars for the boys. Aha! They're all Marses or whatever it was.
Yeah. I can't
They're all
believe we didn't do that
Twixes.
at Southport
Whatever it
Chip
was,
there.
yeah.
We should have done the candy lineup.
All right, let's spin this wheel. Trev will give it a couple more minutes and we'll call a winner. Mike Tanier coming up just after 7:30 and around 7:45 today, 7:50. The Fan Zone.
Fan Zone.
We'll get into, you know what? I think we got to talk Elks for the Fan Zone today. What do you do with this organization? What do you do? All right, here we go. Here is the Wheel of Destiny.
In all of its glory.
For a touchdown score. The Wheel be praised for delivering Drake London on Thursday night.
And a no sweater.
No sweater.
Give us another
First
one
quarter
of those
touchdown?
Too. Hey, like, come on.
Hey, Wheel.
Walks it in.
Wheel, you're sick. All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's start. We're the best odds here.
And a nice wheel today. A heavy wheel.
Pretty good looking
Some
wheel.
pretty good names
Pretty
on
good
that
looking
one.
wheel. Oh, this is a real nice wheel here. Chris Olave plus 188. These are all odds over at Coolbet. Xavier Worthy plus 150. Kareem Hunt plus 138. Travis Kelce plus 120. Alvin Kamara minus 120. Foster Moreau plus 450. Noah Gray plus 450. Juwan Johnson, a little tight end run here. Juwan Johnson 4-1. Juju Smith-Schuster still lives plus 400. Patty Mahomes on a rushing touchdown plus 400. Jamal Williams plus 350. Justin Watson plus 300. And Rashid Shaheed plus 240. Carson Steele plus 200. All right. Are you guys ready?
And look at that. And again,
Spin
that
it hard.
construction paper
This is going to last forever.
still going strong. Love to see it.
All right, Lieutenant Eric, spin that wheel.
Foster Moreau.
Foster Moreau.
We were kissing Camaro
We
there.
were
and it-
so
yeah.
close to Camara. The strength of my construction paper stopped us from Camara.
Screwed us a bit. Well, that's
it's still moving. It's still moving.
the wheel is
I'm a
just. The wheel is
Camaro.
just.
I guess we got to roll with Foster Moreau.
The wheel.
I'll tell you right now, if a Foster Moreau touchdown hits tonight, I mean, you never doubt the wheel again your entire
Put
life.
Zach's chain over top of it.
Never again in your entire life will you doubt the wheel. If Foster Moreau,
Foster
that's the
Moreau.
longest. That's the longest odds on the board.
He's near the
The wheel is risky. The wheel is a risky boy.
risky and risky.
So close to Alvin Kamara.
Don't fade it. We're on the wheel.
We're on it.
The wheel knows what it's doing.
I'm gonna sprinkle the wheel. That's what I'm gonna do.
Just a sprinkle.
This text is and it says, guys, my wife owns the Dairy Queen in Morinville. Oh, I love this. I listen every day. Here's her bag of Score for Blizzards.
And that's the thing. Toffee. That's
Okay,
kind of the
crunchy
thing.
butter toffee.
Yeah. Enrobed.
Enrobed. What? Come on.
That's a nice description there.
Crunchy butter toffee enrobed in rich milk chocolate How have I never tried this?
You're going to love it. And
I
it
feel
doesn't
like,
need to be
I feel
that.
like this would be right up my alley.
Of all the candy bars, it's thin, it's small, but you don't need it's a delicacy. You can see in the font, it's got the crown in the middle of the O. Like, what more do you need? It's the king of chocolate bars.
I'm very excited to try one of these tomorrow. This is gonna be real good. Strummy says, guys, the score bar is easily top 5, but takes 3 days to get it all off the teeth. Oh, so it's one of those.
It can get hidden in the cracks and crevices.
It's real. It's real sticky.
Yeah,
it's real sticky. Like,
depending if you get a fresh one or not.
You want that fresh?
Well, yeah. Sometimes they get a little older. They're not as sticky, but great candy bar, crunchy buttery toffee. That's the one. The toffee. That's kind of what the main.
Grumpy Cat says maple syrup on snow. It's called litier in French. Translates to the pole. Pretty boring fact for you.
Not boring at all. I'm glad that there was a name for that.
So I was watching.
Always wanted to do that, but never had the chance.
I was watching Reed Wilkins' show Friday from South Fort Chevrolet.
He was not getting to
Grumpy
tears,
Cat
was he?
rolls in.
Oh.
Grumpy Cat rolls in with like this broken trophy, and Reed Wilkins was like, "What's this?" And Grumpy Cat was like, "Well, Dusty said he's very curious to see what the strangest thing is that's dropped off today." And he stopped at Value Village and bought it on the way in. Very, like, genuinely hilarious play.
Put it in the truck
from Grumpy Cat. Well done, sir. That was good. I can't wait for that trophy to roll in. Trev's getting a qualifier for our EST flyaway to Los Angeles. Then we'll have a quick update. Then we got Mike Tanier coming up. Then we'll get into the fan zone on the Elks. Question on the fan zone on the Elks today is: you're Larry Thompson. What do you do? What do you do? You're out of the playoffs. What do you do? Did like Larry Thompson pick up the phone from above? Or from the first row, I guess, at Commonwealth where his seat is, and go, play Trey.
And then hangs up.
And then click. And then Jarius Jackson goes, who the hell was that? I can't do it because I don't know if that was a real number. We'll get into that. All right. Trev, who do we have today? Who's qualifying for the EST Flyway to LA?
After the first two people didn't pick up their phones.
Wow.
For the third time, we have Matt.
All right, Matt. Matt, congratulations, buddy. You were one step closer to win a trip for two to Los Angeles to watch NBA, NFL, and NHL action. How's that sound?
That sounds awesome, yeah.
Matt, your phone connection sounds awesome.
Fired up.
Yeah, it sounds like you're right here in studio.
Sweet.
This is terrific. Matt, who would you bring with you on this trip, buddy?
Probably either my wife or my brother, probably.
One or the other, right?
Solid.
Does your wife like trips? Does she like trips to places?
Yes, she does.
Probably got to bring her then. I
guess so.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to leave your wife on Boxing Day to go on a sports trip.
That
to Los
window
Angeles.
is,
yeah. Anyway,
that would be tough. Yeah.
You're one step closer to winning, Matt. Tell your friends about EST. All right, buddy. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, you have another chance to qualify on the Hangout today. Another chance to qualify on EST afternoons from 1 to 3 with Hernan South and Joaquin Gage. And, of course, your final chance to qualify every day on the Reed Wilkins Show every day from 3 to 6 right here and only here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Let's get to a sports update right now with Lieutenant Eric for the great staff at Park Mazda. Mike Tanier, 2 Deep Zone and Substack coming up next.
A delayed Sunday nighter saw the Cowboys escape Pittsburgh 20-17 over the Steelers. Both teams now sitting on 3-2 records. You can join me tonight at Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge as we conclude Week 5. It's the Chiefs hosting the Saints. Oilers placing Josh Brown, Raphael Lavoie, Olivier Rodrigue, and Drake Caggiula on waivers yesterday. They also loaned Noah Philp back to Bakersfield. Regular season puck drop at home to the Jets Wednesday. Regular season action in the NHL continues tomorrow with a triple header south of the border. Oil Kings with a pair of losses over the weekend on the road to Brandon and Regina. The club returned home to kick off a 3-game homestand Saturday when they host the Rebels. Edmonton Wildcats capping the PFC season with a 32-21 victory over the Rifles out in Sherwood Park. Huskies, meanwhile, ending their season with a loss 21-14 to the Hilltops from the JP Bowl. Major League Baseball playoffs, NLDS yesterday. Padres evening their series with the Dodgers at a game apiece with a 10-2 victory. Phillies also evening their series with the Mets at 1, defeating New York 7-6. ALDS continued tonight. The Tigers visit Cleveland with the Guardians up 1-0, and the Yankees look to go 2-0 up there at home to the Royals. Back over to hockey, AJHL saw Calgary 4-1 over Camrose, while Drayton Valley top Canmore 3-2. Action resumes tomorrow when Devitt visit Grand Prairie. Sports update brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda and dealer principal Mitch Lewicki, where he's missed 2 phone calls this morning. Right.
If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
.36 on the Nielson Show. Thank you very much for being here this morning. If you're watching on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up. 31 away from changing 200. So let's hammer that thumbs up over there. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. A new Oilers season is just around the corner. We are going to be busy. You can text us anytime. The Paris Jewelers inbox. Nielson Show presented to you by South Fort Chevrolet. And the Fan Zone coming up for Fans First. The Fan Zone. We'll get into that around 7:50 this morning. Right now, we've got Mike Tanier, Two Deep Zone on Substack. And Mike's brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports and memorabilia and apparel specialists. Visit them for NFL headwear from the best brands, including New Era and 47. Located in Edmonton in the corner of St. Albert Show, 120th Avenue, online at proamsports.ca. Mr. Tanier, I've been saying it all along, but Doug Peterson is clearly the guy. Clearly the guy for the Jags.
Oh, you are very convinced after they barely beat a Colts team that was missing its starting quarterback, running back, center, top defensive tackle, top edge rusher, and top cornerback. That was convincing for you? You're a Doug Peterson kind of guy.
Oh, man, you just nailed that. You knocked it out of the park. The Colts are missing anybody, and they're missing everybody, and they almost blew it. The Jags almost blew that one, man. That's tough. That being said, Brian Thomas Jr. can play. I like that guy. Oh, yeah. I like that kid. He's good.
There's a lot of guys on the Jaguars who can play. It's putting it all together that they habitually have a problem with. And they had a little problem with it yesterday, but they managed to take a lead, get some big plays from Brian Thomas, hold off some big plays, and time ran out on the Colts at the end.
I'm going to selfishly go somewhere next because Jaden Daniels, I've got him on fantasy in a couple of leagues. I've been watching the Commanders. The Commanders are kind of winning me over right now. They're fun to watch. Once again, picking apart the Browns might not mean that much right now. They're 4-1. They get the Ravens this upcoming week, which will be terrific. But where are you at on the Commanders as far as, I said today, they look for real. I'm not going to say they're a contender yet, but they sure look like they could be a playoff team this year.
They look like a playoff team, and what we're trying to do in the NFC right now is sort all of those they look like a playoff teams out. So, okay, well, the Vikings have moved past that. They are a playoff team. So the Commanders are in that range. You look at teams like the Seahawks after what happened yesterday and say, oh, they're falling off. They don't appear to be a playoff team. So it's all about shuffling that in. You're right, though. The Commanders are an absolute delight to watch. You never know what's going to happen next. Jaden Daniels is putting up all these different kinds of highlights, playing within himself. And they get a lot of plays from a lot of different guys. A lot of unexpected players have been stepping up for them. So they're definitely a team worth monitoring as we move on.
Mike Dusty mentioned it, and it's Ravens next week, Commanders, which should be a delicious matchup here. Ravens, of course, Lamar Jackson is doing that rushing offense. Is this, I know mathematically not yet, but for a Bengals team to lose that at home to a division rival and now fall to where they are, is that the dagger? I know they get the Giants next week, but man, that's a demoralizing loss.
Yeah, when I first saw how that loss played out and was ready to start writing it up, I'm like, this was the dagger. This was the end. They're 1-4. Their losses, their portfolio of losses are going to be terrible in terms of tiebreakers. Then I looked at their schedule and I saw, like you said, the Giants coming up, the Browns coming up. You have a kind of a vulnerable Eagles team, and then you got the Raiders coming up. There are 3 wins on that schedule, even if you factor in they're going on the road. And those 3 wins could get them back into the wild card chase. It's just hard to put the Bengals where we think the Bengals should be with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and their pedigree, which is up in the Super Bowl conversation. They kind of just like they've created a wall between themselves and that, and they've got to figure out a way through that.
Losing to the Vikings this season it's not shameful, but with the Jets, they're 2-3. Aaron Rodgers yesterday looked like he got banged up again. Do you have any faith that the Jets get on track at some point this season, or are they just sort of a middling team all year?
They're a middling team all year. I have no faith in them doing anything except stomping on their easy opponents along the way. And of course, this is a team that's always riding the drama. Aaron Rodgers is a force multiplier of drama. This is a team that could even fall short of, hey, with our defense and with Rodgers playing pretty well on and off, we could get to 9 and 10 wins. This is a team that could get into its feelings and turn into, the usual Jets merry-go-round circus that we see every year for the last, 49 years. When did Joe Namath retire?
Poor Jets
2 years ago.
Within the division, though, Mike, the Bills, pretty good day defensively, but at the offense, terrible day at the office. What's going on there as well? Josh Allen, I know he passed the protocol, but that next snap down on the ground didn't look good. 20 points, his completion percentage hovering around 30. Where's Dawson Knox?
Where is Dawson Knox? Is he on your fantasy team? Is he?
Well, no, I looked under the table and he's not here.
He's not
I'm
here.
just wondering if you might know where he might be.
He's with Mark Andrews somewhere on Tight End Island.
Tight End Island.
My God.
But Dalton Kincaid is out there doing his best. It was Khalil Shakir who was injured, and he's not some guy where you look at and say, oh my gosh, how do we survive the loss of Khalil Shakir? But he's been their number one guy. He's been kind of like the go-to guy, move the sixth guy. And without him, suddenly the ball's going to Mac Hollins. And it's going to send to Keon Coleman, who had a big touchdown run, but also ball bounced off his helmet. That's where the things the Bills are dealing with. When they got rid of Diggs and they said, hey, we can do receiver by committee because Josh Allen is so good and we have a great offensive line. That was true, except that it's not necessarily good enough to get you through the Texans when they're playing well and the Ravens when they're playing well. I think the Bills turn things around, but this is a problem they're going to face as they try to meet their expectation, which is Super Bowl or bust.
The Niners are 2-3. They got shut out in the second half yesterday to let the Cardinals come back and win a game in San Fran. I think it's a lazy thing to just say, it's just because they don't have Christian McCaffrey, because there's so many other talented players there. They barely used Deebo Samuel yesterday, and yes, that is me being a frustrated Deebo fantasy owner. I don't understand why you don't mix that guy in more. Is there a level of concern about the Niners right now?
Yes, again, in that Super Bowl or bust conversation.
Yeah.
It's just like the Bills. Oh, they're going to turn things around. They're going to beat up a bunch of teams along the way. But are we exposing these little flaws? And we are. And one of them is Kyle Shanahan's legendary game management. Now, in this game, the kicker got injured. The kicker got injured early in the game, and even though the punter kicked like a 25-yard field goal, Kyle Shanahan went into panic mode. They would drive into scoring position and do the dumbest stuff in their touchdown or bust effort here to say, oh, we can't possibly get like a very short kick or maybe grind the ball down to the 2-yard line, get a turnover. We're going 4th and 25, we're going to go for it. That's the kind of thing the 49ers did, and it's concerning that every week against opponents like the Rams or the Cardinals, they're finding ways to let these teams stay in the game and then finding ways to lose them at the end.
I like to do this throughout the season every single week, even if it is early. But if the playoffs started today, the Denver Broncos would be in them. I thought we might go the entire season without even bringing up the Denver Broncos with you. But here we are. What's going on?
I was hoping you'd go the entire season without bringing up the Broncos. So that's one of the games I did not watch yesterday. And I think if you break it down,
nobody did.
No one did. I got to go back and catch up later now. They beat a Raiders team that is not good. That's kind of in their soup. They had that rainy day win over the Jets, who we just talked about. So they had this surprising upset of the Buccaneers. I think the surprising upset of the Buccaneers, a game where they got a couple turnovers early, is what's fueling this. I know their defense has been playing very well. I know Patrick Surtain had a pick six yesterday. Again, an interception against the Buccaneers kind of sparked that victory. And that's probably what's sustaining them. And that's going to keep them in the pesky, tough out division for weeks to come.
What's the takeaway for you from the Cowboys and Steelers last night?
It was a little bit of a back-to-earth moment for the Steelers, who started the season 3-0. This is just a Steelers team. They don't move the ball very well on offense. They try to win in the fourth quarter. Their defense keeps picking up slack, keeping it in games. Almost got to win this week, almost got to win last week. These almosts are going to turn into like a 9-8 season or a 10-7 season for the Steelers. Cowboys are an enigma. I'd say the Cowboys were in big trouble because of the way their offense played, except we just talked about the 49ers and the Eagles here in Philadelphia are an absolute dumpster fire. So the Cowboys can kind of do this and sustain this for weeks to come. Again, the question becomes, if that's all they're doing, are they going to be a team that falls behind the Commanders if this really is their year? The Vikings, where it looks like that it's their year. Is this a changing of the guard at the top, and it's being precipitated by the fact that teams like the Cowboys just live down to their worst impulses?
Is this an accurate prediction for tonight's game? Saints cover, Chiefs win a close one. I mean, that's what happens here, right?
Yeah, that's an accurate prediction for every Chiefs game and for most Saints games here. And I need to see what the Chiefs do with so many people injured on offense, how they perform there. But I've been burned so many times by saying, oh, this is the one the Chiefs lose because they just don't have the weapons, and they go out and win it. So let's wait and see.
Mike, as always, man, we really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for popping by.
You got it. Take care and enjoy your week.
Boom. Mike Tanier. There he is. 2 Deep Zone. Check it out. Substack. Just search Mike Tanier. Hop on board. And we're talking in-depth coverage every single Monday, recapping a crazy day. I feel really bad. I didn't get to the Dolphins-Patriots 15-10 game.
Well, we can break it down with Rishaug in the different topics to discuss about. I think we had the Carl Anthony Towns deal.
We're trying to put together a list of things to discuss with Rishaug today. He's going to be on. We've got Carl Anthony Towns.
Lead with that. Maybe you follow it up with Dolphins Pats, right?
And then we'll go Dolphins. Then we'll go Dolphins Pats. What else should we hit on with Rishaug
he's a Sherwood Park guy. Maybe the Edmonton Wildcats and their big season finale win against the Winnipeg Rifles yesterday.
Wildcats
at
Rifles,
Park, right?
I like that.
Sure, he's all over that.
That's good. The Jeshurun Antwi trade from last week. Lots of stuff we can get to.
Tilting of the balance between East and West there. Right?
Who's gonna do fake kicks now? Little drop kicks. All right, there you go. That's Mike Tanier. Ryan Rishaug is coming up. We're gonna talk Oilers. We're gonna talk Elks too. He was working that game with us on Saturday. We'll get his thoughts on where this organization is at right now. And then we'll obviously dive into the Oilers, what looks to be their opening night roster, the 12 forwards we expected, pretty much where everybody expected them to be. 6 defensemen that we sort of projected, and Dermott on the PTO remaining as the 7th for now. Josh Brown waived. Raphael Lavoie waived. That'll be interesting. We'll get into that with Rishaug. Yeah. Did somebody take a flyer on Lavoie?
Ethan Bear waived. Jordan Osterley waived.
A bunch of those guys, eh?
It's fun to go familiar off this names. Last waiver wire, right? And just kind of go around the league, but
familiar names. All right, hammer the thumbs up if you're watching over on YouTube today. We're going to dive into the fan zone here coming up right away. 17 away from changing 200. I like that. That's good. This guy's in. It says, guys, I'm a free agent when it comes to NFL fandom. Is it wrong of me to pick a team based on sports betting? The Ravens have by far made me the most money. I think I may start cheering for them. Or should I just stay non-committed? The fan zone. Ooh. Corey B's work phone.
matching the heart with the head now, hey? Maybe that could be a dangerous once you start.
You know what?
Maybe keep business and pleasure separate, right? And
that's true. I maybe just become a Commanders fan.
Hop on now.
Jaden Daniels, they're starting to trend in the right direction. It might be a good time to buy some stocks at the low end in the Commanders and see where it goes. Yeah, make you some money too. They've been making money so far this year, I think. All right, let's get into the fan zone for Fans First. The fan zone brought to you by Fans First. By fans, for fans, no fees. Get your tickets for the Oilers home opener right now, www.fansfirst.ca. Cheaper than the other secondary buying services. Fansfirst.ca. Anybody who's used it has told us it's been a pretty good experience. So you might want to check it out. www.fansfirst.ca. Diving into the fan zone. And we got to talk about the Elks. They've been officially eliminated from playoff contention. They go down swinging with MBT at quarterback the last 2 weeks. And he didn't play poorly.
No.
But he just doesn't win. I mean, it's not even on him, but it just doesn't win. Now, that being said, did have 2 interceptions in that game.
Yeah.
Like, he had 2 interceptions.
Now, the one, but a fumble. You know,
the one was off Gino's hands.
Yeah.
That one wasn't on MBT.
No luck, bad luck, hard luck, whatever. But
what was the other interception? What was the second interception? Well, who had that? I called the bloody game. What was the second interception?
Yeah, Booth guy.
I know. I'm trying to think back. What was the
this vaunted rushing attack too, though, which we've seen throughout that small winning streak there, that was kind of carrying them. I mean, that was kind of invisible as well between Leak and Rankin.
So the fan zone question today is simple. If you were Larry Thompson, who is the new owner of the Edmonton Elks, what would you do? And there's a conversation on a president. There's a conversation on a GM. There's a conversation on a coach. There's a conversation on a quarterback. If you were Larry Thompson, how do you officially turn this thing around?
You're asking who got the picks?
Yeah, who got the picks?
Eau Claire and Milligan.
Oh, Milligan, yeah. Of
Claire
course.
had the early one, and Milligan.
The Milligan one.
You see the mop?
I mean, I think you can make a case that Roland. Who was it?
Now Bo Boverall is out. That was maybe
an opposing coach last week told me that he thinks Roland Milligan is the best all-around football player in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, like an Iron Man.
That's how he's viewed by opposing coaches around the league, I think it's justifiable that a defensive player can win the MOP.
And special teams
leads the league in special teams tackles and leads the league with 8 interceptions. And
he's missed a couple games.
And he's missed games. I mean, I think Milligan's an absolute stud. Can't believe I forgot his pick. That was actually not a great read by MBT. Milligan saw it come and stepped inside. That was on MBT, but Milligan, man, he's good. And he's a really nice guy. Quiet sort of leader.
He puts the O in MOP with his number, the 0.
I get that, yeah. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
They say that.
But if you're Larry Thompson, what do you do? 780-218-9999. Hit us up in the fan zone for fansfirst.ca. I'm not sure what the correct answer is.
It's a boring answer, but you take it step by step. We've said too that they needed to get the ownership in play. You've done that.
Yeah, that's sort of
what's the next
box
step?
number 1 has been checked.
And keep going down the line, but to go all the way and skip 6 steps and say, well, we need to make sure this step is here by the time we make the next 5. I don't know. That's a little. Now, whatever camp you reside in, MBT, VAJ, Ford, whatever. Just get the proper people in place, then they'll hire the proper people, and they'll hire, you assume or you hope, and go down the line. So I guess to me, and I guess there's a boring answer, but who's the prez? Give us a president.
Ken over in the nasty chat says, guys, gut the entire coaching staff, hire Hervey, hopefully, and sign Trey. Mick the Aussie's in there. Hey, Mick, what's going on, man?
Had a good time with him at the
oh, man, a real nice guy. I got a picture with Mick. That was a good time at the casino 2 Fridays ago. If they can't keep Trey Ford, I hope they can, go after Vernon Adams. And, well, you know what? VA. Now, I think he's under contract, so the Lions will move him, so it's a big ticket.
Yeah.
But I think Vernon Adams is calling somewhere in Alberta home next season.
It's a good time as well because he'll be still fired up after this. Definitely a point to prove, right? Guy's still got a lot of, gas in the tank in terms of his career. And I mentioned earlier, I think he does a good job of getting people on his side. He is a maybe not so a big outlandish, but a leader of men in a sense. We've heard all about the off-season camps and everything that he gets teams together, and I think he rallies teams and fan bases. So I think this would be a time, and you mentioned it too, the Lions are looking to move away. It's not moving away due to injury. It's not moving away to bad play. It's not moving away to any negative aspect of his game. It's a crowded room there. Guy's got a point to prove. I'm sure the Lions would hate losing him within the division. I mean, that'd be a scary prospect for them. So the pressure would be on Rourke and crew to deliver. And when you get a VAJ here with a point to prove, again, he's bounced around the league. But this could be the time of a perfect meeting between this organization and that particular quarterback at this time of his career.
Bootski's in. Says, guys, the popular choice for the Elks, President Sean Fleming, GM Ed Hervey, head coach Jordan Maximic. Maximic's the offensive coordinator of the BC Lions.
Can that be something?
Who was here back in the day. He started his career here, I believe.
Local guy, right?
Has worked with VA, if you're bringing both of those guys in. I have not asked other people around the league if Maximic is ready to be a head coach, but he's a hell of an offensive coordinator. Could you live in a world where Hervey is president and general manager?
I think people would have time for that.
It really depends on how you want to do it. Like, are you going to go, like, is the president more of a business ops kind of thing. And then you just let Herv be the GM. Like you could put Fleming in place. I golfed with Fleming at the alumni tournament. I did not grill him over whether or not he'd be the next president of the football club, but we know he's been in the mix in the past.
Propane Pim says, if I'm Larry, I hire Sean Fleming as president, then I return to my seat and let him cook. And that's Propane Pim's play there. Fleming is a popular name when it comes to that particular position. But again, as you said, Hervey, maybe there is a time for a dual role.
Maybe. It would be an upgrade on where he's at now. As far as role is considered, if he's given the president's tag as well. I do think you win back a lot of people if you announce Ed Hervey as part of the,
and not just a nostalgic
turning this thing around. No, he's also good. I mean, he's got the resume too. I could see that happening. It was brought to my attention like 6 or 7 weeks ago by somebody around the league who said, "Don't be surprised if Ed Hervey's running the team next year and Vernon Adams Jr. is the quarterback." So we'll see where that goes.
Interesting.
We'll see where that goes. Big Maple. Great meeting Big Maple out at Southport Chevrolet. That was terrific. We
picked up his award.
A lot from Big Maple. Big Maple says, glue guy for president, Chris Morris is head coach. Oh, man, glue guy for president.
Yeah. Well, who says no?
Hampton Steve says, guys, if I'm Larry Thompson, I let the season finish playing out since it's a lost season already and the market is about to turn all of its attention to the Oilers. After the season, I relieve the acting GM and coach. I hire a president who knows the CFL game with the direction that they either sign Ford or trade for VA. Afterwards, I stay out of football decisions and let the football people run the team.
Yeah, that's a good timeline he lays out there as well. You relieve the people in place and then you create that bit of a buzz player-wise. Take some time for the season and let the Oilers get all their, comeuppance and everything, and then drop that buzz kind of, prior to Christmas or whatever it is, post Grey Cup, maybe just after Christmas, but of the player who you want to move forward with.
Tube Sock says Fleming returns to the EE as president and place kicker.
Wouldn't that be something?
Well, if Beattie didn't hit the bloody upright, first time this year he's missed an extra point. If he doesn't hit that upright, a field goal would have tied that game.
Add that to the list of these little things that have plagued this team. It's not due lack of talent. I mean, they weren't a bad team. They just found interesting and entertaining ways to lose at times. Each week, more interesting than the last.
Really interested to see where this goes, man. Can't wait. I would not be surprised if we hear about a president this month. Even before the season ends, I could see.
Yeah.
Because right now, Rick's sort of just overseeing things.
But
it's not like
the sooner you get that president
somebody,
then you can take some time. And as whoever pointed out in that kind of timeline, take a little time to see who's out there, GM, head coach, and otherwise.
Jimmy Anishi says, trade for VA with what? MBT? No, that's the thing. You're not BC is going to want VA off their books. They're not going to be paying Vernon Adams and Nathan Rourke again next year. That's not going to happen. So you'll be able to get VA for not much at all. At all.
It's a good timing.
I just wonder if Calgary goes and says, hey, whatever Edmonton going to give you, we'll give you a little bit more.
That quarterback situation is a little weird too, right? Because Dickey, we all heard his profanity-laden tirade last. The pressure's on.
Rams fan is in and says, guys, if Hervey comes back, at least Terry Jones won't be around to slag him and the team.
Wow,
I still see Jonesy chirping on Twitter all the time.
Probably get a tweet, yeah.
He also says Sean Fleming's more likely a business operations guy, is what I would guess. Now, if you could find a perfect world, and look, Larry Thompson got a ton of money. Sean Fleming is your president of business operations. Ed Hervey's your president of football operations and your general manager. That's a dynamic 1-2 punch right there. With that, or even if it's Fleming as your president, Herv is the GM, that's still a good 1-2 punch.
And go a long way to kind of resurrecting the fan base. I mean, that's red meat, baby.
Oh, boy. What do we think? 780-218-9999. That's a fan zone. For Fans First, get your tickets to the Oilers home opener at fansfirst.ca. By fans, for fans, no fees. Boom, boom, boom. All three of them. Got you covered over there. All right, coming up just after 8 o'clock, we will get into kind of easy trivia. We will get into 3 questions too many. We got That Hurts coming up. for James H. Brown and Ryan Rishaug from the Got Your Back podcast and a little place called TSN. Shoggy's going to be by just after 8:30 this morning. We'll get his thoughts on what's going on with the Elks right now, what he saw from the team in the loss to the Riders, where does it go from here, and obviously we'll dive into the Edmonton Oilers as well.
Carl Anthony Towns.
Lots to get to. And the Carl
Anthony wants his garage golfing game, whether or not he's putting in a putting green yet.
He's probably golfing all summer, this guy. Yeah. Lives a real nice life.
Not like you, real nice life.
Not like us, traveling every weekend. He was complaining about the cold. It was beautiful.
Are you kidding me?
It was beautiful. He was. On Twitter, I was just like, it's a beautiful night. He goes, not down here on the sidelines.
Oh, my goodness.
You suck it up, Shog. I don't call him out for that when he joins us.
I think you should.
I got to find the Rishaug intro song, too. It's not in the program there. Yeah. Track that. You got that one kicking around, Chef? I might find that one. I should have it somewhere. I'll find it. Don't worry about that. All right. Let's get to an update right now with Lieutenant Eric for Claiborne Services. If you're looking for a job, well, this just in. Claiborne Services is hiring right now. What a time to be alive. What are the odds? You're looking for work, and they're looking for you. www.claiborneservices.com. Let's get to a sports update with Lieutenant Eric. If you want to play kind of easy trivia right now, gift certificate, Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual. Come and get it. Gift certificate, just waiting for you. You just need to get 3 of 5 correct. We had a loss on Friday when we were out at South Fort Chev.
Talked to a few people in the tailgate. They kind of think it was thrown.
Why would you do that?
A little Roseanne on a Friday.
That's disgusting.
There are sick puppies out there that really think about it. You're giving away what's the GC, Mr. Makes you're paying that much to hear Roseanne sing.
Sick
in a
puppy.
sense.
Sick puppy.
Real sick.
I love people talking about it at the tailgate. Was it thrown or was it not? Controversy.
Yeah, he was buzzing.
All right. If you want to play kind of easy trivia, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Hit us up over on the Nasty Chat as we work our way through the show. Let's get to the update for Claiborne Services.
Dak Prescott tossing a 4-yard touchdown pass with 20 seconds remaining. The Cowboys defeat the Steelers 2017. On your Sunday nighter, you can join me at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge as we'll wrap up Week 5 in the NFL with the Chiefs hosting the Saints later tonight. Oilers begin the regular season at home to the Jets Wednesday. Regular season action in the NHL resumes tomorrow with a tripleheader south of the border. Yesterday, the Oilers placing Josh Brown, Raphael Lavoie, Olivier Rodrigue, and Drake Caggiula on waivers, while also loaning Noah Philp back to the Condors. Oil Kings with a pair of losses over the weekend. They dropped decisions in Brandon and Regina. They're back home to kick off a 3-game homestand Saturday against the Red Deer Rebels. Back over to football, the Edmonton Wildcats capping their PFC season with a 32-21 victory over the Rifles out in Sherwood Park. Huskies, meanwhile, ending their season with a loss, 21-14 at home to the Saskatoon Hilltops. Major League Baseball playoff action yesterday from the National League. Padres spanking the Dodgers 10-2, evening that series at 1. Phillies also walking off their Game 2 at the Mets 7-6. That series tied as 1 as well. ALDS will continue later this evening. The Tigers visit Cleveland with the Guardians sporting a 1-0 series lead, while the Yankees host the Royals with New York up 1-0. AJHL action saw Calgary defeat Camrose 4-1, Drayton Valley squeaking by Canmore 3-2. Action resumes tomorrow with one game, Devon visiting Grand Prairie. Take your career to the next level with Claiborne Services. They are hiring all positions, including journeyman bricklayers and apprentices of all levels. Take advantage of their outstanding mentorship program and work with peace of mind knowing they are an industry leader in safety. Check out www.claiborneservices.com or make it easy and call Jeff, 780-910-6728.
Can't you ever tell why you don't start so well? You kept saying that it's alright. We just need to play our game right. Then you took us all by surprise. You were ready to contend, playoff time again. It was the Kings first, needed to waste. Then the Canucks, man, wasn't it great? You beat the Stars and then lost to Global Flames. Now in my head, I think this is a Stanley
Best team in the league from Jason in Leduc. Love it. Are they the best team in the league this year? Find out starting Wednesday against the Jets.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting, eh? Jared over on the Nasty Chat is asking, hey, Dusty, did you ever give the official ruling on Marshall's catch/no catch on the bet?
Great point. We've never heard a...
And Amishman 19 says that wasn't a catch. Marshall didn't survive contact. Here's the thing. And many people, the vote ended up being 70% no, 30% yes, which devastated him. He was just like, oh... I said, but buddy, the ruling on the bed was a catch initially. And there were a lot of people who replied and said, Dusty, you cannot see if the bed caused a bobble because it was behind one of the blankets and pillows.
Conclusive evidence.
So I told him in the end, it was inconclusive to overturn it. It was ruled a catch on the bed. It remains a catch on the bed.
Yeah. It always goes to what the initial... Right, like that's
was
what
the
matters,
problem.
and then you're kind of you're behind it or in front of it, whatever. But
that was the ruling initially on the bed that it was a catch.
But he sold out. He stretched out. I mean,
you
props
should
to him.
see. I'll show the one that he made. I didn't want to put this up because he's just in his ginch.
Is he just catching like one hand?
But this one, I mean, I'll show you this one. It was. I was pretty impressed by the one that he caught.
Making a quarterback look good.
Like
is that what it's kind of thing here?
Yeah. Like he's doing his best. Like he's
nabbing him out of nowhere.
He's going to be a tight end one day. But yeah, like check this out. Look at this one. Laid out, got the one hand under it and brought it in.
Secures it.
Do you see that?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Unbelievable. This kid. Who is this? Randy Moss?
Well, showing off the butt like that, I mean, it's kind of, you're right.
I know. Same thing. He was stretched out there. All right. The Nielsen Show is brought to you by South Fort Chevrolet. Tell him we sent you. Go out, see Daniel. So Daniel's like the superstar in the biz. He's driving that Corvette. He's 29. He manages the dealership.
Yeah, and he's got those Gatling
He's got
guns,
that Gatling Nerf gun.
I was expecting a lot, but that totally blew me out of the water.
That wall was insane.
I didn't
that
leaf blower thing that
if you
Tommy
missed
had,
Friday's show, he came out with like a Gatling gun Nerf thing, and we made Tommy stand like right by the wall.
You peppered him.
We both hit him.
Needed a blindfold and a cigarette.
Tommy's a team guy. Always has been.
Yeah.
Anyway, great people, great vibe out there. Go out to the fort, do your business, www.southfortchev.com. If you're looking for trucks, they got you covered. All right, who's playing Kind of Easy Trivia today? Trev, who do we got, man?
Today, Megan is going to give it a go.
All right, Megan's going to play Kind of Easy Trivia today. Needs to get 3 of 5 correct to win that gift certificate to Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual, the casualest place ever, home of our favorite sirloin bites, and also the classic Mike Burger. You're going to love every minute of it at Mr. Mike's. All right, let's go to Megan. Megan, good morning. You ready to go?
We'll find out.
We'll find out. Hey, look at this. You can't be worse than the guy on Friday. So let's just say that. Maybe. I don't know. All right, here we go. I'll start the ticker after I read the first question. Good luck. Who did the Elks lose to on Saturday?
Saskatchewan.
What position does McLeod Bethel Thompson play?
Quarterback.
Will the Elks make the playoffs this year?
No.
Will the Stamps make the playoffs this year?
No.
Which city is home to the NFL's Chiefs?
Kansas City.
Boom! 5 or 5. That's what I'm talking about.
And Sergio Ramos gets a nipple erection.
Oh, is that dirty?
This is not just a dream, it's a wet dream of orgasmic proportions.
Oh, is that dirty?
Frustration sets in and the emotion goes out, and then you just start playing by yourself.
Oh, is that dirty?
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
How about Megan?
Just
slides in.
Yeah.
Sounds a little bit nervous.
But whatever, forgetting all about Friday. Like putting Friday in the rearview mirror. I mean, that's a Monday
5 for
morning
5.
performance, I tell you.
Unbelievable way to start the week. If that doesn't get you fired up, what will?
Sheldon S. says Megan for EE president.
Wow.
Maybe Thompson make the call.
Congratulations. Today you're going to win a gift certificate to Mr. Mike's, and you become president of the local football team.
There you go.
That was pretty impressive. That was good. Maybe I shouldn't have said Tommy's always been a team guy because, as somebody said, he ate a second burger when somebody else didn't get one.
Well, I thought that was
tried
the joke.
to kill Reed Wilkins.
I literally thought that was the joke.
I didn't realize that one.
I set it up and I was like, ooh, what a burn.
That was a tough look. You see the poster about Twitter Mary being wanted for questioning. That was pretty funny too.
Wild West.
Yeah, that was good. All right, it is Nielson. It is Lieutenant Eric. It is YouTube Trav. It is the Nielson Show. Ryan Rishaug coming up in about 25 minutes. We'll talk some Elks and Oilers with him. You can text us anytime at 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Dusty, did you discuss the leak no catch late in the game? May should have had to use his challenge. Okay, I'm glad you brought this up.
The touchdown?
The one that was not a touchdown.
Yeah.
It was not ruled a touchdown, but then they reviewed it without Mace having to challenge it. I know MBT was angry about that.
3 Down
after.
Nation just had an article out on it.
Yeah, and 3 Down Nation pointed out, which is what Suits said, because I brought up what many of you were thinking. I said, wait a second.
Situation.
They didn't call it a touchdown on the field. So how can you review it as a scoring play?
It goes back to Marshall's catch, too, in a sense.
Same thing. That was inconclusive. This one, when you got another look at it, you saw the ball was bobbled. But it's scoring plays or near scoring plays that they'll step in and review. And I guess technically, because it was down just outside the end zone, they reviewed it as a near scoring play, which is a part of the rules. If the near scoring play part wasn't included, then that would have been a bogus. Corey should have had to throw his challenge flag of that one. But that was not the case. They got that one right. They got that one right. The issue with challenges in that game was Jerry has challenged something that he couldn't challenge, which now what I found somewhat interesting on that is I thought sometimes I've seen them tell the coach, hey, you can't challenge that, just pick it up. And they just pick it up and continue. But this one, they took his challenge away from him.
I don't like that whole you can't do it, pick it up.
Well, this is what I'm wondering.
If
that challenge flag comes out,
you should have a coach behind you or somebody else knowing, hey, once it's gone, to me, it's gone. If the flag's on the field, flag's on the field.
All right, let's get into 3 questions too many today. Lieutenant Eric, do you have a liner for the segment?
3 questions too many, brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda and dealer principal Mitch Lewicki, where thank God the preseason is over. They'll be having a thank God the preseason is over party down at the dealership today. Park Mazda, your dealer for life.
Changing 200.
Changing 200.
I'm going to start timing you in between, like when it happens and when we go. That's a good one. You got it, Trev. Hey, let's keep those thumbs up flying in this morning. It is the Oilers play regular season hockey this week. It finally means something.
Yeah, baby.
It's just tough to get up for preseason games. It's to watch, let alone some of these guys have to play it. All right, Eric, do you have a Twitter account?
Yes, at Lieutenant_Eric. You can follow, and Edmonton Sports Talk at YEG Sports Talk as well. And I think old Zachary, what are we calling him these days? The Cube?
Ice Cube.
At Zachary HMK, he did have a video of Iwanik's meat sauce there.
Yeah, he did. It didn't look great.
Because again, I want to quote tweet. He's like the lighting. It's all about the lighting. But some of the replies, to that tweet are just hilarious. So it's all going on Twitter at YEG Sports Talk. Give us a follow there at the station account as we drive for 6,000. 200 and some away change.
Let's do it. I just bought new pens for the office.
Yes.
I bought these Bics, just a classic cheap Bic.
That's what you want. Everyday player up and down the lineup.
Yeah, this right here, this is Matthias Janmark. That's what this pen is.
Grippy there on the...
Little grippy right here.
Nice, yeah.
You need that a little bit.
You're already...
Here's the problem,
mid-season form already.
This is the problem.
Holy heck.
When I chew lids, and it's probably a gross look on the show, I should have bought the first ones I bought that where you just do the pushy thing. But these lids, they're going to be all over the place.
You were licking your lips.
Hate me. I saw it at the store, and I said, I went up to the lady. I said, I'm going to buy these lids to chew.
Yeah,
and she goes, those are pens, sir. I said, are there pens in there too? Well, the guys can use them.
Yeah.
But these damn lids are so chewable. They're
the
like
meeting last week. You had one going. You weren't even chewing on the pen. You had the lid in the mouth. I think you're just chewing like a stick.
It's gross. It's a gross habit I have. It's a gross habit I have, but it does build up my tolerance for diseases and stuff.
Yes.
And I stay pretty healthy.
Well, your gums are some of the best, very strong gums.
These teeth are lid chew. Tammy's going to be like, you're disgusting. You're a pig. Stop chewing on this thing. But they chew so nicely.
Just hearing you talk about it,
I love it.
Yeah, you're passionate.
This is a real tough. Tomorrow, you're going to try tomorrow. I'm going to use the pen tomorrow, and we'll see how long in the show I can go before the lid enters my mouth.
That thing is ravaged. You came in here with the box of new pens. It is absolutely ravaged.
Sorry, boys. If you go over there, there's no lids left. I took them all off.
Yeah.
I keep them in a little bag and I bring them out like just when I need. Yeah. Does anybody have? We got any other lid chewers out there? Or is it just me? Hey, if you chew a lid, hit thumbs up on YouTube. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart, you can text us. Obviously, we're coming at you from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio today. Where if you've not had the blackened chicken sandwich, you've never had the greatest chicken sandwich of all time.
It's better than a pen lid.
Sometimes. I mean, that's how much I like pen lids. All right, question number 1, guys. President, head coach, GM, or quarterback? What do you think is the most important decision that the Elks have to make?
Well, today it's president, and I've been saying this. Do it in a line here. Now, if you want to hire 2 at once, fine. If you want to do the old double up and give a guy 2 jobs. I say you bring
all 4 out at one time. Yeah. QB, head coach, president, GM, all in one press conference. Evening. Yeah, well, just I don't know. Yeah, right away. Wednesday night. While the Oilers have their opener.
Yeah, right in the middle of the game. Announce them all. They've acquired VA. It's boring. But again, just get the president going. Maybe it's a package deal, Pres GM or something like that along those lines. But certainly names of Fleming and Hervey. I mean, anything nostalgia-wise to get people back on board. And as I said, it's not just nostalgia, but these guys actually have resumes. So whether it's however you think the president's job is, again, as somebody said, Fleming just overseeing things and such, but do it in a line. Don't say, well, we have to hire people who want this quarterback and then that, and then you're kind of going all over the place again. Just do it in a nice linear fashion.
I'm going to say the GM is the most important of all the decisions, though,
because they'll all get made. You're saying
they'll all get made. I'm looking at. I was thinking of just going quarterback. Like regardless, well, maybe it is quarterback. Regardless of who's put in those other spots, if they can deliver the right quarterback, you're going to be fine. If they hire, let's just say they hire Sean Fleming and everybody's like, oh, and they bring back Hervey's GM and it's like, oh my God, Ed Hervey's back as GM, and they make a good coaching hire. But if they still have a dud at quarterback, you're going to be, not that these guys are duds, but if they have a dud at quarterback, you're screwed anyway. But you got to have a guy who can play the position.
But we have seen, though, it's not like MBT or Trey Ford or whomever are going out and having duds. I know the recency bias, the games against Winnipeg were unsightly, but I think we've also said that this roster does have some weaponry, and I wouldn't again, going back and rerunning it won't be good for a fan base who you're trying to attract and bring in anew. But if you have a new coach, if you have a new system in play, if you have whole new ideas, and how many windows can you open until it gets really fresh in there, right? So if you do have a new pres, GM, coach, OC, yada, 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 you could arguably make it still work, I think, in terms of results with either an MBT or even a Trey Ford. Is that ideal, though? Probably not. And they will probably move away from it. But
so MBT this year won 3 football games. Do you know who the 3 football games were against? The other teams who aren't going to be in the playoffs. He beat the Stamps twice and he beat the Ticats before they turned their season around. Like, that's it. He did not beat a playoff team in his 13 starts.
Didn't beat them, but played well enough to put them in positions to win. Those 3 games where they lost on those walk-off field goals,
but still.
I know.
Like, you start 13 games and you have 3 wins against the Stamps and Ticats?
The record is what it is. I get it. But it's not like they're going out there and getting their pants pulled down every single week in terms of performance.
Yeah.
Fair? What
do you think is more likely? Here's a fun plot twist on this. Both MBT and Trey Ford are gone from here next year. Which one has a better job of landing a starting quarterback position somewhere in the league?
I could see MBT in a Stamps uniform.
I was just going to say.
Because it's the same situation down there that Chris Jones had starting this season. You need to win today.
But he didn't win.
I know, but he has a track record of being a CFL vet. And again, I don't think he necessarily lost him a lot of these games. There was bad luck, no luck, stupid luck. But I think we've talked about football coaches so much, and they'll always go to the conservative decision. Whether it's popular with the fan base or not, they'll go to old faithful, old reliable. And I know he wasn't this year in leading the team. But I think if you need to win, you're more apt to go to somebody who's been there, done that, as opposed to a raw rookie who, again, as you mentioned, we haven't seen enough of Trey Ford to really have the jury out on him.
And that's the biggest problem.
Fans would like to think you do. And again, I think there's something there. But as a coach who's coaching for his job today, I see where that decision-making comes, whether it's right or wrong in the end.
Shotgun Sports Network says president announcement by the end of the month. That's what I said earlier. They're going to get a president announcement coming in October. I don't know if it's going to be mid-October or late October, but they'll have a president by the end of the month. Shotgun Sports Network also says big thanks to EST for supporting the second annual chili cook-off. 353 voters for 15 chilies. Who won? Do we know who won? Was it announced there? Or?
The ballot box was getting
Please pass
stuffed.
that along.
The
I'm
trophy was
curious.
out.
I'm curious who ended up winning.
It's got to be Jason and Andrea, though.
It was that good.
Well, I just, man.
Question number 2. Guys, I know it's just preseason, but do you think this is the year it clicks for Jesse Puljujarvi in Pittsburgh?
Sure looks like it.
Did you see that goal he scored?
Well, we put so much stock into preseason, I should say yes. Right? Like if it's
4 goals, 3, a hat trick, and then he did have that was a nice goal. Like he came in, faked the shot, faked backhand, then came back and went up top. It was, I don't know, man. Maybe the hips are fine now. And I think I looked yesterday on Daily Faceoff. He's on their 3rd line with Lars Eller. Trev, what do you think? Is this where it click? And here's the thing: the click, like Puljujarvi clicking in Pittsburgh would be like 12 goals, 30 some points. Third line production. Trev, what do you think?
The hips don't lie.
Oh.
I thought that you were gonna.
I can't believe you were.
I was like, you were like the hips, and I was like, don't lie.
I almost said it, then I thought that might be lame, and then I go to you, and you're
Damn
like,
it.
the hips don't lie.
The hips don't lie. Yeah. So I remember like when Jesse was here, he performed pretty well in the preseason. So this is like something we have seen before. I wanted
a nice
to.
breakaway goal,
but like as far as like that goal, like that finish, it was sick. Like I was not expecting that.
You know what he looked like? He looked like he finally had confidence.
Yeah, that was like
Right?
exactly.
He didn't bobble it. He just
like he knew what he was doing. Like and it looked so nice. So here's hoping. Like I was a big Jesse guy, and so if
me
he
too,
could
kind
get
of
it
a
done.
bit.
Yeah, I've heard. So if you can get it done, like that would be awesome. But I don't think like, like I think a good season for him for sure would be 40 points, 30, 40
that'd
points.
be huge. That'd be 40 points would be a great year.
That'd be a great year. So can he do it? By all accounts from that goal, he's got confidence. Here's hoping it happens.
The winner of the chili cook-off from the Tailgate, which we were a big part of, will be announced on the Elks call on Wednesday. Love it. Be able to hear that here on EST as well, as they're one of our friends of EST. Question number 3. Yesterday was National Coaches Day. Which coach do you think it would have been great to play for? Is there a Riders coach you would have thought would have been awesome to be around?
Kenny Miller.
Kenny Miller.
He's like a dad.
Yeah. He did seem like didn't he? Like,
yeah. That'd be.
Which coach would I like to play for? Well, I mean, Chris Morris for sure.
How about this one? Jim Tom Sula. Remember him?
Man, I remember that last
name.
name.
The Niners for like a couple of games. He had the mustache. Had no business being an NFL head coach.
Yeah.
And it just ended terribly. But like how
about Herm Edwards?
Yeah, well, Herm, the coach. Yeah. Tom Sula, hey?
Barry Hinson?
Yeah. I was thinking of him the other day, too.
To win? Or no, sorry, I'm doing Herm again. My wife. Kyle Polanski over in the chat says Coach Bombay.
No Gordon, hey?
That
Tom Sula is my answer, easily. That would have been hilarious.
Tube Sock says Babcock, you are hilarious. That's give me some Filthy Bruce. That would be fun. That would be fun, eh?
Duck Dad says Kavis Reed without question. That'd be why not, hey? Getting those
if you're looking for a hilarious, that would have been pretty funny.
I do like the funny answers to this question more so. It's
yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
Dallas Aikens, anyone?
Strummy says Jackie Moon. That's a good point. Matt Hyman says Jeff Reinbold.
Jeff Reinbold. Bringing out the old the motorbike or whatever, the Harley. That guy was wild.
There's a lot of good answers to this one.
Jeff
I like
Reinbold.
that. Keep that coming in. Which coach would you have liked to? Well, Coach K. I don't know if I would have loved playing for Coach K, but I would have liked to try to play for Coach K.
You could say you played for Coach K.
Yeah, well, I still do already. I do like to pretend I'm a Duke alum.
Campbell out there in Detroit.
Yeah, you know what?
Biting kneecaps.
I would definitely play for that man.
Yeah.
A guy who wears his emotions on his sleeve like that. I would love to play for Dan Campbell.
I could see you playing. You'd be a Dan Campbell guy. I could see you fitting in with his. Like,
Thanks, Eric.
No, but you know what I'm saying. I just think there's a symbiosis there between the two of you. He'd have you running through walls, and you'd be like, "Yes, sir," and you'd go, and you'd love him.
That'd be pretty cool.
He chews a mean pen, probably, eh?
Oh, that guy chews pens.
He swallows them.
100%. Amishman 19 says Todd Nelson.
Yeah, he's got that Tom Sula flair as well.
Don Matthews, Reggie Dunlop. We've done coaches draft, haven't we? Yep. We did do coaches draft? Not since we started here. We did a coach draft here? No, we didn't. I don't ever remember anybody selecting Mike Krzyzewski.
Did we take the coach from the show?
Was it not the coach? I'm pretty sure we did.
Did we do a fictional coaches draft? Maybe that's what it was.
No?
Gordon Bombay?
Maybe it was a category.
Like all these guys
I remember Gordon Bombay being on there.
Was it speech? Was it the speech? No, it was
a coach draft,
and
then we had to have a speech.
Yeah.
That's right.
I was here because Glue Guy.
Was that the very first one we did? Did I win that one? That might have been the very first one we did.
I think so.
That must have been
But we definitely had one.
Yeah. Well, good work, Trev.
Thank you.
Rookie of the year.
Memory of the year.
Yeah. Well. All right, let's dive into that. Hurts right now for James H. Brown. And Trent Brown, I was thinking about this the other day. Trent Brown must have more suits than anybody in the city.
Good looking guy.
Because he's at a charity event every 2 days, and he's always in a different suit. And it was his birthday this weekend. So happy birthday. Happy birthday to Trent. Let's get into that hurts for James H. Brown. Heavy hitters of injury law. If you've been injured in an accident, you go to jameshbrown.com right now, and they're going to take care of you. They're going to look after you. It's going to be a great experience. Here's what hurts. A spite league backfire. Remember I made
this comes out the big deal.
Remember I made the big deal last week?
Gibbs was on a bye.
I traded for Jahmyr Gibbs. Gibbs was on a bye. I traded Chuba Hubbard and T. Higgins. Mm-hmm. T. Higgins, 25 points this week. Mm. Chuba Hubbard, 17 points this week. Mm. Here's the problem. I traded them to the team that I played against this week.
Okay.
And it backfired and they beat me. In the spite league, I make this deal. Now, I didn't have Gibbs. He was on the bye.
Yeah, so wait till you get your weapon here.
But man, that hurts. But that hurts. I sat there and watched my team lose to the two guys I traded away earlier in the week.
You got to focus on the long game here.
That's what I keep telling myself.
You can't take because this happens. This type of thing happens. It's a scheduling. You could also say maybe the fix is in too with how this is scheduled. Now you play the team that all of a sudden you're conveniently are dealing with here. Huh? But no, you have to look long view here. You haven't even taken your new car out for a spin yet. These two guys, you wish them well. It hurts.
Still hurts.
It does hurt.
I told Tammy about it last night, and I think she pretended like she cared for a moment. She's like, "Oh, that sucks. I really want you. I want you to win that league because of the spite." But you know what? I also did is I traded him in that deal. I traded him Anthony Richardson, and then before games this week, like 2 days before the Colts game, I picked up Joe Flacco, so he couldn't get Joe Flacco when Anthony Richardson gets hurt. So I also have Joe Flacco on my bench now. I'm never going to play him because I got Jaden Daniels, but I kept it from him.
Yeah. I think
Flacco's a great. He's a great bench guy in fantasy.
Yeah.
Keeps everybody else fired up.
Absolutely.
And drives my other backup quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, to be better. Right? There's that good quarterback room I got going on.
I think you take this hit. It hurts as much as it hurts.
Oh, it hurts big time.
But you got to know this is the big is a big picture thinking from you. That's what the deal was made.
Still though.
Yeah.
That really
that's too bad.
That's my biggest fantasy football hurt of the season so far. It was just, as I was watching T. Higgins, I was like, you son of a gun. Yeah, that sucked, the big one. But whatever. As Duck Dad says, the Spite League isn't won or lost in week 5.
It's a great point.
It's a good point. With that being said, the Ravens better start handing the ball off to Derrick Henry at the 2. I think Lamar Jackson had 3 passing touchdowns of 1 or 2 yards. You got Derrick Henry, the king. Didn't make any sense. Anyway, that hurts. All right, on the way, Ryan Rishaug is going to join us. We are going to talk some Elks. We're obviously going to talk some Oilers as well. And we're going to talk about how he's complaining on Twitter about how cold it was on the sideline.
Unbelievable. I wore shorts.
It was a beautiful day.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful. You were wearing shorts. This guy's wearing shorts. We'll get to that. Ryan Rishaug is coming up from TSN, the Got Your Back podcast. Let's get to an update right now with Lieutenant Eric. Sit and sleep. If you're looking for a place to sit or sleep, good news, they've got both for you. He's got more on that with the update.
Join me tonight at the Centric Casino Sports Bar Lounge as we wrap up Week 5 in the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the New Orleans Saints. Last night on the Sunday nighter, the Cowboys escaping Pittsburgh with a 2017 victory over the Steelers. Oilers placing Josh Brown, Raphael Lavoie, Olivier Rodrigue, and Drake Caggiula on waivers yesterday. They also loaned Noah Philp back to the Condors. Oilers will drop the puck on their regular season at home to the Jets Wednesday. Regular season action will resume tomorrow with a triple header south of the border. Oil Kings with a pair of losses over the weekend on the road to both Brandon and Regina. Oil Kings will begin a 3-game homestand Saturday when they welcome in the Red Deer Rebels. Back over to football, the Edmonton Wildcats capping their PFC season with a 32-21 victory over the Winnipeg Rifles out in Sherwood Park. Huskies, meanwhile, ending things with a loss 21-14 at home to the Saskatoon Hilltops. Major League Baseball playoff action yesterday. Some action from the National League. So the Padres 10-2 victors over the Dodgers, evening that series as at 1. Phillies also evening their series of the Mets at a game apiece with a 7-6 victory. Later on today, the Tigers visit Cleveland with the Guardians sporting a 1-0 series advantage. Yankees are at home to the Royals, also leading that series 1-0. And back over to hockey, Calgary 4-1 over Camrose in AJHL action, while Drayton Valley top Canmore 3-2. Action resumes tomorrow with 1 game as Devon will visit Grand Prairie. The wait is over. Sit and Sleep is now open. Celebrate with 20,000 square feet of savings on the trendiest furniture, home decor, and mattresses. Apply for your Sit and Sleep card today to make no payment for 18 months interest-free and be entered to win your purchase up to $5,000 on furniture and home decor next to Planet Fitness, South Edmonton Common.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
$8:32 on the Nielson Show. Thank you very much for being here. If you're watching over on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up. Give us a sub. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, please just tell your friends about EST and the fact that we're giving away that trip for two to Los Angeles with the EST Flyway to LA. We got the wrap coming up for William Huff. We'll go there around 8:50 this morning. Ryan Rishaug about to join us. PT Mark is in and says, Rishaug was in jeans, wear sweats, and he'd be fine. It's not like we see those twigs on TV anyway.
Nice
That's a possibility as well. Let's bring in Ryan Rishaug this morning. Shoggy, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Good to talk to you guys. Good to see you. It's been a little while. Yeah,
just a little bit. Just a little bit.
The circumstances that I'm entering into the show here this morning. I'm not loving my entry into this season. I was perusing your nasty chat here, and the first thing I see is somebody named Stroomy says cold on the sidelines. Stroomy, cold on the sidelines. Give Rishaug a break. He's got soft teeth, a bad back, and a receding hairline.
Oh, geez. Did you reply? Did you say something to him or what?
I'm crying. I've got to gather myself here. I was like all excited. I'm like, they're probably so pumped to have me back. This is going to be, everyone's happy to see me. And then I read that.
Jeez. Man, Strummy's usually a pretty nice guy. I think he was just trying to be hilarious, I guess.
Thanks, Stroomy.
Was it cold? Was it cold down there, Shockey?
It's fun. I saw your tweet and I looked up. And you in suits are up in the fancy booth with all the expensive equipment, center stage. And I was just like, and here's the thing. Although it was sunny, you did have to layer up a little bit to be standing there for 4 hours. And I didn't layer up quite enough. So at the time I was feeling a little bit chilled and I lashed out. And I exposed myself and it was a mistake. I couldn't help myself.
Look, man, we have to start. I mean, with maybe not necessarily just that game, but the state of the organization overall. They're officially eliminated from the playoffs. They go down with Trey Ford on the sideline. We really haven't seen much of him at all this year. Where do they go from here, Shoggy? There's a chance for a big reset, obviously, coming if they want it. Do you think they take it?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's still better than it was a year ago. Can we kind of agree on that? Like, it feels like it's pushing itself in a better, healthier direction than it was this time last year. Would we agree?
I do agree with you, but then I also think, am I being foolish for also thinking that? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I agree with you. I do.
You know, there was so much hope towards the end of last season, though, because of the performance of Trey Ford. And I think a lot of people were feeling like, okay, finally a reason to buy a ticket and sit down. Finally a reason to pack up the family and get down there. The organization had, there were a few changes and a quarterback that looked like he had lots of promise and people were coming back. And then they got a different quarterback. And I think, MBT was good for them. And, man, you just spent a little bit of time around that guy. You can tell what a professional he is. He's in ridiculous shape. The players, when they talk about him, talk about his professionalism. So, in a lot of ways, I think having that guy around the team probably benefited them a lot, just in terms of development for some of the guys as professionals. And they've told us that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, some of the momentum that they built with this young quarterback got stalled a little bit this year. And, when it felt like he was maybe butting heads with the last coach and there was a lack of trust there, this new coach comes in, he was a quarterback, and maybe there'd be better synergy. And there they are deep into the season in important games, and they're going the other way. So it was a weird dynamic, you guys. You got a coach and management that don't have contracts moving into next year. So it's kind of like win now versus build for the future. Can you do that when you don't have your deal? Just a few things that felt a little off, that it was a sputter to the finish, and it's unfortunate, but I do think there's more good stuff happening than maybe in previous years.
I just wonder too, though, and we were talking about kind of the purgatory zone. You're winning for today, but also having to plan for tomorrow. I mean, in your world, Shoggy, do you see like a complete tear down, rip down? Like, are you keeping any of the spare parts around? Because this was a team that I thought too, some bad luck, no luck all throughout the year in terms of how they found ways to lose games. So is it so much of a tear down, or are there a few parts you're kind of looking and keeping around? And if so, kind of which ones and how high up the chain are those parts?
Yeah, look, I think they were one of the better teams in football for 6 weeks of the season, Dusty?
It was a good
5
stretch.
To 6, basically.
Yeah, them and the Bombers there, and the Bombers continued it, but the Elks fell off. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good stretch. So, I don't think you can discount that they showed they've got it in there to be competitive and to play winning football for, a month and a half, 2 months. I don't think you can just discount that. Developing Trey Ford into what
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric.
Well,
I don't know what that was.
Off stage?
What? No, I don't know. Trev, did you hit? My hands weren't even next to a computer. I don't know. I don't know who that was. I thought you were trying to play a bit again, Shoggy. That's what I thought was happening right now. That was
no
really
bits
weird.
for me.
That came out of
if
nowhere.
I was going to play a bit, I'd just roll my theme music. That's
there
what
it
I would
is.
do if I was
There it is. You might have to send that to me again. I was trying to find it today. I couldn't find it because I moved over to a new program.
Oh, really? All right, okay. Yeah, anyways, but to the question, I don't think it needs to be a complete teardown. I think they've got some good core pieces. I think they got to kind of figure out the right way to develop Trey Ford and lean into that.
I'm glad you brought that up, Shoggy, because is developing him just making him the number one guy next year, and you bring in a veteran who nobody's gonna be you're not gonna be tempted. I don't want to say this, but Matt Schultz out of Calgary, a guy who you can go to if you need be. But Trey Ford's. Do you think that's what ends up happening at the quarterback position, or do you think neither of these guys are back, or do they go with MBT again and let Trey Ford walk?
Yeah. Tough to let him walk because he's so entertaining and unique and young, and he's the kind of guy you want to sort of build your franchise around and have people come paying money to watch play, because when he's at his best, that's kind of what his deal is. So but having a guy like MBT there who can grab the ball and run with it, and probably outplay him on a lot of nights right now because of where he is in his development, that's a little bit tough, right? So, look over at the Oilers, right? Stu Skinner, this is the first year where he truly starts from training camp as the number one guy with zero doubts.
Yeah.
How's he going to handle that, right? Well, they got a real good guy there in Pickard that can win you some games if he needs to, has been around, good guy, can go in any situation, right? Maybe that's similar to what the Elks need to put in place for Trey Ford. Really dependable, great guy, can lean on him if you need to, but day to day, you're not sweating him that he's breathing down your neck to steal that job away from you. But I do think the organization feels Ford needs to be pushed. And that is clear, you guys. They feel that he needs to be pushed and have someone there that he at least understands nothing is given yet. For whatever reason, they believe that Ford needs to be pushed that way.
Last one on this, then we'll flip over to the Oilers. They have 2 games left. Is it Trey Ford in those 2 games? And if not, how much would you read into that?
Yeah, I absolutely think it should be Trey Ford in both those games. And if it's not, I'm going to read a lot into it.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be. I mean, he's the quarterback. As of right now, he's the quarterback of the future here. You're sending messages to him right now with the decisions that you're making. And I think, like I said, you need to lean into him. And I think that starts right now. The other thing we got to remember is we don't know everything going on behind the scenes. Like, we don't. And Jarius Jackson, I think, he's a pretty straight ahead individual. I think he's a pretty straight shooter. And so, he alluded to a few things here and there, over the last couple of weeks that make you think, okay, maybe they're somewhat displeased with, for whatever reason, with Trey Ford, and they're leaning into MBT instead. And maybe, Jarius Jackson thinks too much without it being earned isn't going to be healthy for this player. So let's allow for what we don't know. But I would be leaning into Trey Ford.
All right, Edmonton Oilers training camp preseason. Thank God it's over. Regular season opens up on Wednesday. They've got their 12 forwards. They've got 6 defensemen under contract. Travis Dermott on a PTO. We said it this morning, as far as preseason goes, the biggest bright spot was probably Noah Philp looking like he can play in the National Hockey League this season. Outside of that, there was sort of a lot of conversation about what the heck they're going to do on the back end. And then the rest of the forwards we kind of already know about. So what would you say was the biggest storyline coming out of what we just saw over the last 3 weeks?
Connor McDavid playing 5 exhibition games is a little mind-numbing.
That was a lot, wasn't it? After a long year last year, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it was interesting. After his first game, I was in the scrum. We were interviewing him, and you could tell he wasn't super thrilled. My understanding was heading into training camp, 2 games was the number. And somewhere along the way, that changed.
How do you go from 2 to 5? Yeah.
We also know that McDavid changed up the way he trained this summer because he had so little time. And, I haven't had a chance to ask him this yet, but I can't help but wonder if when he got back on the ice, at training camp, the work that he put in over the summer and how different that work was, if maybe he didn't love the way he felt. Now, I'm not saying he didn't come in shape. McDavid will always come in fantastic shape. He will always put the work in. But just strategically, he changed up some of what he did this summer. And if he wasn't loving what he felt, maybe he was like, okay, I'm going to have to lean into it and get some of this done at camp. And maybe that's why we saw as much of him as we did, was because whatever he did during the summer probably helped him in a lot of ways. Maybe it didn't have him exactly where he wanted to be. So to me, that was definitely notable. I would say another not major storyline, but another notable for me. I think Arvidsson looks great. Love the motor, love the way he digs. I think he's going to be a great fit with Leon Draisaitl. That looks great. Another notable for me, Jeff Skinner was invisible. Totally invisible. Have no idea what they've got here. We'll give it some time and let it breathe. He's a veteran guy who's not necessarily going to bring his best in the exhibition season. But we're going into the regular season, and I would say my eyebrow is raised with curiosity over how this is going to go with him in a top 6 role on this team. So that would be another takeaway from the exhibition season. And then my other thought, guys, is, Darnell Nurse. People will think I'm nuts for saying this because he makes what he makes, and that player should be able to play with anybody and prop that player up, and you should be able to drive a pairing and all that. Darnell Nurse came into training camp banged up, and he's starting the season, trying to get himself fully up to speed, and he has Ty Emberson as his partner. I think that the Oilers are taking a bit of a risk here in that not necessarily putting him in the most stable position to make sure he gets off to the great start that he's going to really want to and that he needs to. So I just can't help but feel like, hanging him out to dry is not the right way to put it, but He does not have a partner who is clearly a top 4 or even 5 defenseman in this league. And to me, I'll be watching that real close as the season starts.
TSN's Ryan Rishaug with us from the Got Your Back podcast. Strumi has since apologized for his remarks earlier, Ryan. And a few other people. I'm going to say this, like a good 5-to-1 clip of welcoming you back in positive form. So I just wanted to communicate that. You mentioned, though, Skinner with a negative, I guess, eyebrow raised. Vasily Podkolzin, this screams to me as one of those cases where, it didn't work somewhere else. Expectations for you. You now have a chance to come out of this team, great surroundings, and I just think in a spot where not too much is going to be required or asked of you. But what have you seen from him, though, so far this preseason? I know you didn't mention him in your top notes, but is he somebody that you could look at with an eyebrow raised positively in that fashion moving forward?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say positive returns on Vasily Podkolzin for sure. He strikes me as a guy who, and he's really, really funny to talk to. Really nice kid. Really enjoyed the few interviews that we did with him during training camp here. He strikes me as a guy who will probably recognize, what didn't go right for him in his first organization and make some adjustments. Like we always hear, maybe that wake up call when high picks get traded from their drafting organization to a second organization. Maybe it's a bit of a wake up call. And I think Podkolzin is a great candidate to bounce back from a situation that didn't go well for him in his first organization, but much different expectations here, right, guys? He doesn't show up a high draft pick here. He doesn't show. I mean, everyone sees what he got traded for. He shows up. Basically, all the guy needs to do is skate hard, finish some checks, be a fourth line player that can finish off some plays, which he can. This guy has top 9 skill playing on a fourth line, and try and learn to kill some penalties. And I think fans are going to like this player. So I think there's a good chance that lessons learned will make this a very usable player for the Oilers this season.
We got to go back to the blue line just to wrap up here. Bringing up Nurse and then Emberson and Stetcher and Kulak and then Dermott with the contract coming here, I would assume at some point. How much are they moving those guys around, do you think, Ryan, before they find... weird, I called you Ryan as opposed to Shaggy. That kind of I threw myself off there. How much do you think they're moving those guys around early in the season to try to find something?
Well, Dustin... it all depends on Emberson. It all depends on it is Emberson's to grab and to squeeze and to hold and to nurture. It is his spot. They would love nothing more if Ty Emberson went in there and grabbed that thing and held onto it. That's the design. When they traded Cody Ceci, I guarantee you they were saying to themselves, we need that cap space. Who is a young defenseman out there on a relatively cheap deal who is maybe ready to outkick his coverage a little bit? Who would be a guy we could come in and drop into that spot and cross your fingers that it's going to fit and it's going to work? It's exactly what Emberson is. If you look at his numbers, not a ton of games played, but his plus minus on that team was good. The defensive numbers are pretty good. He would be the guy you would identify and go cheaper and meh, you never know. And that's what they're riding with right now. So, Dusty, it's his. It's his to hold on to. And if he can, they'll be thrilled. But this is the thing. Who's pushing him? Like, who's pushing him? We saw what they thought of Stetcher last year by how much they used him, right? And that's part of the issue here. There is not a lot of upward pressure in this lineup. There are not a lot of third-pairing D-men that are going to push for the second pair. Not a lot of second pair are going to push for the first pair. If it doesn't work out with Skinner up front, who's the guy pushing him for that spot? Adam Henrique, maybe? Now what are you doing at third-line center? If you think about it, Fogle and McLeod and Holloway, that was a layer of players who at times would push up in the lineup and put pressure above them. That layer's gone now. So it's different this time around.
Great stuff, Shaggy, man. Awesome chat today. We look forward to catching up with you every Monday throughout the season. What's the schedule like for Got Your Back? What's the plan with you and Struddy and Brownie?
Yeah, appreciate that. So we're going 4 episodes a week again this year. We're going to do mostly post games, but generally speaking, we'll be doing a Sunday night pod as well. So we dropped one last night. By the way, Brownie was feisty. Him and I were like mortal enemies 10 minutes into that podcast. We were scrapping it out hard. Rob Brown has come back spitting mad. I'm not sure if he's pissed he lost Reed. I don't know what's going on, but Brownie is showing up in ill temper this year.
Well, then I guess I'll say you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. We got a juiced up Rob Brown on the pod, but Brownie and Struds, it's been fantastic. But we'll drop another one tomorrow night to preview the season.
Excellent, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Good day, Dustin. Eric.
Yes. Bye, Ryan.
See you, Ryan.
There you go. That's Ryan Rishaug. Fun chat with Shoggy. You know, I'm glad he brought it up at the end because when he first mentioned it earlier, that's the first thing that went in my mind. If Skinner doesn't work, then what happens? And I think what would happen, let me just throw this out there. Skinner doesn't work great alongside Draisaitl. What happens first is Skinner gets moved up with McDavid. Nuge slides down to play with Draisaitl. But if Skinner doesn't click with McDavid, then who's that next man up?
Podkolzin maybe again.
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
We were singing the praises of him here, and it is a question mark. It's not a for sure, but that could be a thing.
Throw a pick to the Penguins for JP after a hot preseason, eh?
He's riding with McGroarty and the Eller there.
God,
right?
Let's do it. All right, let's get into the wrap for William Huff, where this ties in nicely, actually, because Bruce from William Huff, who makes our place look terrific, WilliamHuff.com. Been doing it since 1952, best in the biz. I'm very excited for the hangout today. Murray McCourt's in today.
Murray is on fire.
There's got to be some sort of Elks rant coming down the pipe from Murray today.
At least one.
I can't wait for that. This is a must-watch hangout today between Awanik and they don't play Trey Ford and Murray. It's gonna be real nice, Clark. Anyway, Bruce Simpson texted me while we're talking with Rishaug. He goes, "I agree with Ryan. It was cold on the field on Saturday." Yeah, but Bruce, I saw you. Bruce is in the tunnel holding the guys back until it's time to go. And I think you were wearing a winter jacket, were you not, Bruce? Or at least a heavy like spring jacket.
You're sweating.
So you were trying to stay warm. I guess maybe it was. Look, I wasn't down on the field.
I was liquid.
I'm a booth guy.
I was there. I mean, I was hot. I was sweating on the way down.
I was going to text Rishaug and be like, "Do you want this extra pair of gloves I brought to the game?" I don't need them.
Wearing them the whole time.
I don't need them. I had them on the whole time. All right, what did we learn on the show today, guys? You
learned that Bali is a city in Indonesia, not a country. I mean, you learned it. I am stealing your answer here a bit. But,
the reason that I learned this is because I always hear people go, "Oh, I'm going to Bali." And they never say I'm going to Bali, Indonesia. No. They just say I'm going to Bali. So I thought Bali was its own country.
If you do go to Indonesia, though, you're probably going to Bali. That's probably why they... Like, I wouldn't know what other towns or villages in Indonesia. But yeah, Savage the Plumber and Renee having a little vacay. It's great to see.
Man, those two are living a good life.
Oh, they are. They spent, what, $24 on a meal yesterday? Total.
Classic Indonesia.
Drinks, the whole bit. But I also learned that you've never had a score bar, to which, to Trev and I's amazement here. We'll be having scores tomorrow for the boys.
Score bars tomorrow. Somebody's got to pick up score bars tomorrow. I'm a little worried. People is like, "Oh, it takes forever to get out of your teeth." What am I getting into here, boys?
That's bad.
You know what I feel like? I feel like it's going to be like there's going to be like a bunch of little flakes on my tongue.
It's like chewing a pen cap.
I don't want to have to drink water right after eating a chocolate bar. And I feel like that's what's going to have to happen tomorrow.
I think you have to.
Trev, what'd you learn on the show today?
I learned that it was either Dreger or his neighbor. Someone almost got mauled by a bear.
Yeah, Dreger's guests who were at his place in Manitoba, yes.
That's what it was.
And they didn't get mauled, but it was outside smelling and eating flowers off of a hanging flower rack.
Mauled the flowers.
Him at the Lake is like the Great Outdoors movie, hey?
A black bear.
Yeah, I do imagine
the old 96er, you know, he probably
Dreger's having 96ers every night. living his best life. Sound of the day today. Go for sound of the day today. Let me see here.
Shogger's music. Did you finally find it?
I know. I still didn't find that. Hey, let's go back to Cave Street Pump Up song from Whale and the Wolf as they celebrated their first 1 million streams.
October 19th.
With Midnight Riot. Yeah, that's real nice. Sound of the day.
I can remember back being an 11-year-old kid, about 75 pounds on the basketball court against the neighborhood bully, kicking his behind left, right, and center.
I call you when I need you. My heart's on fire.
When it was all said and done, he was a little upset, so he punched me in the mouth.
You come to me, wild and wild.
My uncles were over on the side, observing, talking amongst themselves, adult things.
When you come to me, give me it.
When he punched me in my mouth, I decided I'm running to my uncle. You know what he did? Pushed me back to him. I went back and he punched me in my mouth again. I ran to my uncle, looking for protection. Needed Big Brother to protect me. He pushed me back again. And you know what I did? I faced him in the eyes and I said, my uncle's not going to help me. And I punched him in the face. Then I looked him in the eye and I said, then what? Now what? Now what? Now what are you going to do?
You're simply the best. Better than all the rest. Better than anyone. Anyone I ever met. Stuck on your heart. Hang on every word you say. Says maybe I would rather be dead.
Real fine work and congratulations to the boys for Midnight Riot hitting 1 million streams as well. EST House Band, Whale, and The Wolf. All right, let's get into your text of the day today for A and W. It's crunch time. Saw this commercial yesterday while I was watching Thursday Night Football for the Ruffles Crunch Team Burger.
I had a bag of them on their own.
What are you talking about? Ruffles.
Just those
so did I
sour
the
cream
other
and
day.
cheese. Yeah, it's great.
I think what's happened here is that this collab has helped both. Like, I picked up some Ruffles the other day as well.
Everybody wins.
Yeah. Real nice chip. A real nice chip.
Cadillac of chips.
And a
It's
real nice
good, yeah.
burger coming together to make a real nice chip burger. Try it in all its team burger glory or crunch into its equally tasty sidekick, that cute little Ruffles Crunch Buddy Burger for just $4.99. Try one today in your neighborhood A&W. I have to tell you, the EST Flyaway to LA presented by 780. Check them out. 7, the word 7 followed by 80.com. Tons of great local merch. The text is just, when we do that qualifying, it crushes the text of the day contest. Like, it's really tough.
You got to change your
really
strategy here
to,
now, hey? Like,
yeah, well, now I'm like, it's just tough to find the text of the day because people send in their text of the day and then they send in score and then everything gets discombobulated and it's a mess.
if you got a zinger, you got to kind of come in here, 2-minute warning time.
So you know what I'm going to go? I'm going to go with Lacombe Drew today. And it's a good one. And also, he didn't text in. He was texting right around the trip giveaway, but didn't actually text in for the trip. So he's not just here for the prizes, right? He's here for the content.
Love it.
Lacombe Drew today. Dusty tries to announce Pizziaolo's and downtown, 2 men in the same condo building have now bolted awake in bed, staring intensely. We have some defending of Italian heritage to stand for. That makes sense. That makes sense. I didn't know if I was saying that right.
Well,
Hey,
it's a
where's
good way to wake
our
'em up.
Tommy Gazzola? Come here for a second. Tell me how you would read this word as an Italian boy. The Pizziaolos, or how do I say? What do I? Pizziaolos. Pizzialos. But do I have to say it? Pizzialos? All right, Pizzialos. That's an Italian center. That's good. We're gonna dive into these on Wednesday on the show. Tomorrow it's score bars.
Yes,
Wednesday,
for the boys.
It's the hand stretch house-made dough topped with the signature sauce and the best ingredients from the deli. Our Pizziaolos have Pizzialos.
Just do the hand thing. It's all good.
It's not Pizzialos.
Oh.
How
Now
can
you're
this guy-
doubting him. He's the
how
Italian
can
boy.
this be Pizzialos? It's Pizzaioolos. It shouldn't say pizza. Pizzia. Tommy, you're Italian. You're supposed to know this. It's a weird word. I know it's a weird word.
Sounds made up.
Pizziolos. That's it. Pizziolos.
Sure. Okay.
Rolls off the tongue.
got it.
Pizziolos.
Pizza.
I don't
As long
know.
as you do the arm thing, it's all
I
good.
don't
You can say it any way you
know.
want. Eh?
I'm trying. All right. What are we watching tonight, boys? Well, I know what you're watching tonight. That's the luck.
Monday Night Football, Chiefs, Saints. Should be a good one. We spun the wheel. Who did we land on again? It was Foster Moreau.
Moreau.
We were kissing Kamara there. We were close, but that construction
That being
paper
said, if Taysom Hill doesn't
holding
play
true.
and Taysom Hill gets some tight end touchdowns,
The wheel
maybe
was
there
set.
is a play for Foster Moreau here.
I love it.
We'll have more on the Monday Nighter and a full recap in the National Football League coming up on the Lock Shop today from 11 to 12. Myself, Huss, probably P. Greggy hopping in. Trev, did you learn anything on the show today?
I already said what I learned.
Oh, sorry, Trev. I wasn't paying attention. I just saw you put your third window back up. I thought you wanted to come back on the show.
We were talking about what are we watching tonight, and I was just going to say,
oh, okay.
I'm watching Mr. McMahon. Episode 3.
Are, hey?
Yep. I'll be in. I'm hooked. I'm loving it.
I'm going to say I bet you watch at least 2 episodes tonight, if not 3.
I think 3, probably 3.
Yeah, but then you're not going to finish it?
Yeah, I probably
right, you might finish it.
I might as well get this.
This is a lot of fun.
I'm loving it.
WCW almost killed him.
Yeah.
It was that close.
I'm learning that too.
Eric Bischoff.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Bischoff.
McMahon fears Bischoff.
And then they come together later, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's all.
That's kind of weird.
That was a lot of fun, actually. All right. Well, enjoy that tonight, Trev. Enjoy that tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Good to have Dreger back. Good to have Rishaug back. The hockey season, 'tis be upon us. Very much looking forward to the others' home opener on Wednesday against the Jets. If you're watching on YouTube right now, I'm telling you, the hangout's going to be a good one today. Murray McCourt from the Ranch is going to bring that fire for sure. Turn on autoplay on YouTube. That'll take you right on over to the hangout. You don't have to do anything. Autoplay set up. It's just that little button, right on that little play button on your screen. Turn on autoplay, and that'll take you right on over. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or EvanstonSportsTalk.com, hangout will be starting in less than 5 minutes. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back with the Lock Shop, and we got the oil stream today as well. For YouTube, Trev, Lieutenant Eric, I'm Dustin Nielson. Thanks for joining us. Take it easy.